on the sidewalk going up the hill now. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Game 1 of this doubleheader against the Yarmouth.
It's a high, deep drive into left field, and this ball is long gone. Safe, he got under the tag.
Well, one hop the wall, and it lands for a double.
Want to ride into deep left field, and this ball is gone. Falmouth is going to the Western Division Final.
Hey Commodores fans, David Korzenowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. We've been here before, Game 8. This time it's versus YD, a doubleheader, so Games 8 and 9 happening today, this Sunday afternoon, as we bring you the 5 things you need to know about today's matchup. And Danny, number one's got to be the weather forecast.
Yeah, so five days since we've last played a baseball game. We're going to give you 5 things that you got to know about today's game, and one, of course, is what everybody wants to talk about, is the weather, because it's finally sunny. But I'm not going to talk any more about it, because whenever we bring up the weather, it just starts raining. So that's all I'm going to say about the weather. Look at the screen. Looks pretty sunny.
That's it.
It's going to keep it at that.
Number 2 is the fact that because of those rainouts, the Commodores now have the fewest games played out of any team in the Cape League, tied with Bourne at 7. It means they're going to have a lot of makeups going down the road. A couple have yet to be determined when they're going to be played, but we might see some double headers down the stretch. And talking to Coach Trundy about how this schedule has gotten all sorts of out of whack, here's Katie Florio.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks, Coach Trundy. And then there was a A little bit of a hiccup in the roster, along with the weather changes. I think everybody has been focusing on the lack of games played, but in the roster, we got a new guy coming in, Noah Holland, a catcher from Anna Maria College right here in Massachusetts. That's a D3 school. He's coming on to replace Michael Turner. The first permanent player on the Commodores roster to leave for the summer is Turner due to a hamstring injury. The catcher from Kent State is no longer. Now they've got 2 catchers back, with one from Oregon State, Troy Clonch, and one from a D3 school in Noah Holland. So expect a big workload for Troy Clonch in the road ahead.
And throwing to him is our key number 4 in Chris Gonzalez. It's his second start of the summer. Last time out was a little bit shaky. 3 2/3 innings pitched with 5 earned runs in a 10-2 loss against Bourne.
And that also factors in to number 5, the last one. It's amazing how we wrote these out, isn't it? Because Yarmouth Dennis at 4-3-1, the record may not look that great, but boy, when those bats get alive, they can dominate. And Chris Gonzalez is going to have a good bounce-back game today if he wants to settle down YD. They had a 7-run victory over Wareham and a 5-run victory over Katuitt. Those are the top 2 teams in the Western Division, so it's going to be a tougher game for Gonzalez if those YD bats are alive. We'll see how he can bounce back and try to, kind of get his summer back in order.
Commodores and the Red Sox will play 2 here at Gov Fuller Field on Sunday afternoon. First pitch coming up next on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. And again, we hope we finally get to a final score. It's been since Monday. We're itching for it. For Daniel LaRose, I'm David Korzenowski. See you soon.
Hello, Commodores fans. Welcome into the broadcast booth here at Gov Fuller Field. David Korzenowski joined alongside Danny LaRose. We're glad to be back in the Gov. We're glad to see a sunny day. We are glad to be playing some baseball as the Commodores have a doubleheader against the YD Red Sox. Danny, how are we feeling about today and the week in general?
You know, I forgot that we came here for baseball. I kind of just got used to staying in a home that wasn't mine and reading books and watching Netflix. But evidently we're here for baseball at the end of the day.
Surprising.
And finally, it's come around. And you made this funny point yesterday that a week ago we were talking about how 12 games in 10 days was going to be such a grind. Well, we don't know what's in store in the next couple of weeks, but I'm sure it's a lot worse than 12 games in 10 days.
Yeah, basically a week off for the Commodores. But the worst part about it, talking to the players and the coaches, was they still had to show up every day. Yeah. They got to the bus, they got their uniforms, they got their bags. They were ready to go, and sometimes at the field and playing baseball. But you need to get to 5 innings for a final score, and there has not been a final score for the Falmouth Commodores since Monday against Wareham. So we take a look at today's lineup, Danny. Pretty similar to yesterday's that played the first inning against Wareham, except Chris Gonzalez is starting on the bump.
Yeah, don't fix what ain't broke. Yesterday in that 1 inning against Wareham, they scored 4 runs on 3 hits. So they're going to keep that same lineup. Jackson Coots gets bumped down to the 8 hole. They move Troy Clonch up to the cleanup spot, which makes sense because he had an RBI hit in yesterday's game that ended up getting washed out. And Chris Gonzalez looking for a bounce-back game. He got hit around quite a bit by Bourne. He got tagged with a loss. That was a Bourne team that wasn't really hitting at the time. He's just leaving a lot of pitches over the middle of the plate. Yep. So we're going to have to, Gonzalez is going to have to hope that he's got his better stuff because, YD is a much better team than Bourne is, in fact. So it's going to be another tough matchup for Chris Gonzalez, but he had a great sophomore year, so he's just the guy who's got it together.
So take a look at that lineup. You'll see defensively very similar to yesterday. In fact, the exact same. Outfield is Langworthy, Dunn, and Deloach. The infield is a couple new guys in Tim Tawa at third, Kevin Kendall from UCLA at short, Cantrell at second, Coots at first, Troy Clonch, the Oregon State Beaver, behind the plate. As my partner mentioned, Chris Gonzalez getting his second start. His first was against Bourne. It was 8 days ago. He pitched 3 2/3, gave up 5 earned runs, 6 hits, walked 1, and struck out 3. As we take you to the field now here at Gov Fuller Field, and we'll walk you through the YD batting order, leading off from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo and playing center field, Brad Beasley, followed by Luke Waddell playing short, batting second, Austin Wells in the 3 spot and playing left field. The cleanup man, Riley King from the University of Georgia. He's playing right. One of their best hitters is in the 5 spot in Andrew Eister, designated hitting. Riley Terada batting 6th, playing 3rd. Wyatt Young getting his first start from Pepperdine University, batting 7th, playing 2nd. Tate Samuelson batting 8th, playing 1st. And rounding out the order, Jackson Greer, who had a brief stint with Harwich, getting his first start in the red and white of the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. First pitch will come in right at 3 p.m. Chris Gonzalez, the big lefty, throws to Clonch, and it's popped into shallow center field. Dunn charging in. It's in no man's land in right center. Deloach comes out of nowhere and makes the first out. 1 pitch, 1 out for Chris Gonzalez.
Well, thank goodness that ball stayed in the air as long as it did. I thought it was going to fall about 3 different times. Cantrell had no idea where it was. I think he was just looking to get out of the way of Dunn. And finally, Deloach out of nowhere, like you said, that was not his ball at all. It was probably closest to Cantrell or Dunn. But Deloach tracking it all the way, has those sunglasses up. Good job by the Aggie.
Now a lefty-lefty matchup as Luke Waddell steps in. He takes a pitch high and inside. Luke Waddell is a rising junior with the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, batted just below 300 this year at 296. Had 55 hits, 16 of them extra base hits. Takes ball 2 in the same exact spot, and he's got a hitter's count. Commodores wearing their home whites with those maroon stirrups, the black caps, and the maroon F. YD, white pants, red jerseys, blue lettering. Check swing, but he went around 2-1, and we'll take you through the umpires. Behind the plate, Tom Carey. Brian Troop down at first, and John Petula at third. The umpires wearing that baby blue as it is a bit hot today. Strike 2 right about letter high, and Gonzalez fights back.
Yeah, another warm day like yesterday, and hopefully just not as humid so the clouds don't roll in.
Yeah, we don't see any clouds out in center, and believe me, we will let you know if we do. 2-2 misses outside. Claunch can't squeeze it. Full count. This past week was really just a haze more than anything. I mean, some of the games were called early. We got 4 innings done at Hyannis in a 1-1 game, and then the fog rolled in along with the rain. Strike 3 got him looking inside part of the plate, and Luke Waddell goes down looking for the second out.
Looked maybe a hair tight, maybe a little bit upstairs as well, but that's going to be the strike zone. Tom Carey making it known early that he's going to call higher pitches than other umpires may call. He's going to call more inside pitches as well. I'm sure Gonzalez has taken note of that in the back of his head, and he's going to continue to hit that spot.
Another lefty comes up in Austin Wells as a slider breaks across the plate for strike 1. This guy had an outstanding freshman year at the University of Arizona. Hit 353. 78 hits, 60 RBIs as he swings and misses and is down 0-2. Danny, Pac-12 Freshman of the Year.
It's a pretty good baseball conference.
Not bad. Not bad at all. But he's down 0-2 with 2 outs. Gonzalez looking for the punch-out pitch, but he left it high. Wells from Las Vegas, Nevada, went to a athletic powerhouse in Bishop Gorman in high school. Swings and misses. Strike 3. Gonzalez with 2 Ks. He works through the YD Red Sox in order, and we head to the home half of the first inning. It's 0-0. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/bloodcenter.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal. The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Leading off for the Commodores,
Bottom of the first inning here at Gov Fuller Field. Towing the rubber for the YD Red Sox is one of the best names in the Cape League. Boyd Vanderkoy from the Arizona State University. A big righty who's got the flow to match the name. Fires a first pitch that's fouled back by Hayden Cantrell. Vanderkoy's also getting his second start today. He pitched 1 week ago against Catuit in a 7-2 win for the Red Sox. 4 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. To the leadoff man, Hayden Cantrell. He hits him on the right shoulder. Hayden Cantrell loses the elbow guard and will trot down to first. Doors have a leadoff runner on.
Great start. You didn't have to do any work. You get on base. Not bad for Hayden Cantrell. That's exactly what a leadoff man wants to do. Vanderkoy has a little bit of trouble with control. So it's going to be a interesting matchup against the Falmouth team that has shown to be very patient throughout this year.
No doubt about it. Vanderkoy, a rising junior at Arizona State. 39 walks, 85 strikeouts. Here's one cracked past the diving Wyatt Young. Hayden Cantrell's going to round second and trot into third. Here's the throw. It's going to be cut off. Runners on the corners after a single from Austin Langworthy.
Another great start for Austin Langworthy, swinging early, getting a hit. Yesterday in the shortened ball game, he worked a longer at-bat, worked out a walk, got on base, scored a run. Well, this time around, he wastes no time. He sees a pitch that he likes. I'm sure Vanderkoy trying to overcompensate after coming too far inside to Cantrell. He goes a little bit outside with Langworthy, and Lang gets good wood. Already, Doors are in business just like yesterday, so their offense is looking to really start to pick up.
Commodores scored 4 runs in the top of the first against Wareham, but then, as we mentioned, it was called. This one cracked down the line in right field, but it lands about 3 feet foul. Trey Cruz batting third in the designated hitting spot for the second day in a row. And that lineup did look really good yesterday, Danny.
Oh, yeah. They poured on runs against
Right.
one of the best teams on the Cape, against a guy who did not let up a lot of runs with UNC Wilmington a year ago, bounced the starter in the first inning.
Vanderkoy looking to avoid the same, but here's one that's going to get in between the hole again. Wyatt Young diving. Hayden Cantrell will take a slow trot and touch home plate. Austin Langworthy's into third standing up, and the Doors are up 1-0.
And it's not a lot of pitches either. 2
Right.
pitches to Hayden Cantrell, 1 pitch to Langworthy, 2 pitches to Trey Cruz, already a run home, 3 runners have reached base, nobody yet out, and that's Vanderkoy's issue. He was coming off of a season at Arizona State where he had an opposing batting average of .301. Anytime that opposing average is up above 300, you know that your pitches are catching too much zone, and I think the Doors knew that. They might have known the scouting report, maybe listen to the Pac-12 guys, swing early, swing often against Vanderkoy, and so far so good.
Troy Claunch steps up. He's cleanup today and catching for the Commodores, followed by Tim Tawa, who's on deck. Off speed, drops in for a first pitch strike, and Claunch, despite not logging any official at-bats, has come to the plate against Hyannis and Wareham in games that were then canceled, and he's looked good.
Yeah, yesterday he looked great. He took a 2-strike pitch that was up in the zone, kind of loped it out into center field for a bloop single, but it gets the job done. That's just very smart situational hitting that he showed.
Watches the slider break too far away from the plate. It's 1-1. He came around to score in that first inning. The Commodores scored all 4 runs against the Gatemen with 2 outs. They're looking to pour it on here. Still nobody down in the bottom of the first. Can tell these boys are ready to play. Vanderkoy from the stretch. Had a 5.59 ERA last year. Pitch again misses low and away. And Danny, we've talked about it before, but right around this time last year is when the Doors really got hot. The Pac-12 guys came into town. Last year it was Kyle Stowers and Maverick Hanley from Stanford University, who were a couple. This year it seems to be Claunch, who's at the plate now, Tawa from Stanford, and a few of the UCLA guys. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
And what's funny is that in this game, it's been 3 guys who have been here pretty much all season long who burst on and start pouring on some hits and runs. So I think it's also the days off, more time in the cages, more time to rest up, and maybe that is the key for the Doors. I don't know. I think it's just the eagerness, honestly.
Vanderkoy is going to check on Cruz at first base. Langworthy dances off at third, but wasn't going to break home. Vanderkoy, a big righty, stands at 6'5", weighs in at 220. Only gave up 1 earned run in his first start. He's already given up 1 without an out here in the first inning. The 2-2 outside. Defensive alignment for the Red Sox. Austin Wells out in left. Brad Beasley in center. Riley King in right. Infield, Riley Terada at third. Luke Waddell at short. Wyatt Young, who's died for a couple balls but come up short, is at second. Tate Samuelson at first. And behind the plate is Jackson Greer. The 3-2 fouled back into the screen. Cruz was running on the pitch.
We would like to remind parents to keep their children off the roof of the dugouts, away from the batting cages.
Commodores at 3-3-1 this season. Yarmouth Dennis has one game at hand. They're at 4-3-1. Doris sitting in the middle of the West Division with 7 points. YD tied for fourth in the East with 9. East right now off to a hotter start than the West.
Oh, yeah.
The 3-2. Outside. Oh, excuse me. Strike 3, and sliding into second base is Trey Cruz. Luke Waddell thought they got to strike him out, throw him out, double play, and a late strike 3 call for out number 1.
Yeah, this is an extremely late call. I thought it was ball 4 too, but it looks like Carey just has a late strike call, and that was the similar pitch to what struck out Luke Waddell just a half inning ago, except it was inside to a lefty. This time it's outside to a righty. Same exact location, maybe a hair off the outside black up to an inch, and it gets Clonch looking, so both teams going to have to adjust at the plate to a little bit of a wider strike zone, at least laterally.
Tim Tawa took a 2-1 fastball up the middle yesterday against Wareham. But again, that game erased. So this is his first at-bat of the summer. Tawa, a guy we're really looking forward to watching, rising junior at Stanford University. Back in 2018, freshman All-American, All-Pac-12. 2017 Gatorade Player of the Year in his home state of Oregon. Tawa, the righty, has a chance to knock in a couple more as Cruz moves over to second. And Langworthy stays put at third. 2 runners in scoring position for the Commodores. Vanderkoy taking his time. Takes a long look into Greer. Greer seems to be setting up on the outside part of the plate to Tawa, who stands very close to the inside part of the box. Misses out.
This is going to be fun to watch. A bunch of Pac-12 guys going up against Vanderkoy in the Pac-12. Troy Clonch from Oregon State. Tim Tawa from Stanford, all the way down Kevin Kendall from UCLA. So it's kind of some familiarity. I think all of these teams have faced Arizona State, this season, if I'm not mistaken. They might have faced Vanderkoy as well.
Tawa with a check swing that goes back towards the fans and the food shack as a horde of kids go running after it. Beautiful day here at Gov Fuller Field. Good amount of fans on hand, and I expect more to come in as we head into the second game of this doubleheader. It'll start about 45 minutes after the close of this one. Remember, doubleheaders on the Cape, 7 innings. Tawa pops another ball back. Foul. Doors played a doubleheader last week out at White House Field in Harwich and dropped both games. They looked rough at the plate, just scored just 1 run in 14 innings, lost 1-0, and then 7-1. This is their first matchup against YD this season. The 2 teams split the season series last year, and the away team won every game. The 1-2 from Vanderkoy. Another foul ball.
Great work by Tawa with 2 strikes on an inside pitch that looked like he was running even further inside just to be able to fight it off. Vanderkoy is starting to hit the corners a lot more. I think early on he was expecting not a lot of swings, thought he could get some get-me-over pitches. That quickly was erased, and now he's actually locating a lot better.
Vanderkoy settles. Brings his glove about belt high and delivers. Did he go around? Yes, he did, says Tom Carey. Tim Tawa can't believe it as he mouths off on his way back to the dugout. And Danny, I got to agree with him.
Yeah, that didn't look like a swing. At least appeal. They didn't appeal down to second either. It's not the best angle for the umpire over at second base, but at least got to appeal for it.
So Clonch and Tawa both go out by way of the K. Clonch looking at a ball that was on the inside black of the plate. And Tawa with a check swing that was ruled that he went around. So now Zach DeLoach, who's swinging a hot bat, starts up 1-0.
Swinging a hot bat, but not technically.
Right. We have to qualify all of these statements that we say, right? Because, again, last 2 games the Commodores have played, Zach DeLoach has come up and really put a rod into a few balls, but he is 0 for 5 on the season. The 1-0. Low and inside. He's got a hitter's count now.
He's probably the guy who's most deservedly frustrated with the lack of games played, because he would be able to boost that 0 batting average up a little bit. And who was it yesterday? It might have been Kendall who got a hit, and he said, "Wait, so I'm not betting
Tawa.
it." It was Tawa. I'm not betting 1,000 anymore.
Now he's batting 0 after the strikeout. The 2-0, strike 1.
That's that same pitch. That's real far inside, maybe a tad high, but it's going to be called. And that's going to be tough for those lefties to hit, because you got to really extend your arms against an inside pitch like that, start swinging early, and just try to yank it. Most you can do often with that type of pitch is just foul it.
Vanderkoy trying to avoid the damage. If he can get one more out here. It's chopped over towards shortstop, right to Luke Waddell. Throw onto first. He's safe. He beat it out. Close play at first, and DeLoach is safe, so says first base umpire Brian Troop. Langworthy scores, and the Doors double their lead. It's 2-0.
It was a slow hit ball, light little chopper at shortstop. Waddell charged in like he should have, and then kind of a jump throw, threw it very softly towards first base. And DeLoach with more speed than you think. I don't think we've been able to see his speed too often, because he hasn't really gotten on the base pads at all. But he shows it off right there, beating out a very soft throw from Luke Waddell, who I think is just kicking himself now, thinking, man, I had him dead to rights, but I just took too much time with it.
Infield was jogging towards the dugout, but from our angle, it looked like Loach did get down in a hurry. Here's a hard hit ball into right center field off the bat of Blake Dunn, and it's 3-0. DeLoach heads into third. Dunn will stop at first. Doors have runners on the corners again, and now a 3-0 lead.
Boy, did Blake Dunn need that. He has been struggling so mightily lately in a Doors uniform. For a guy who hit .374 this past year, he was 1 for his last 13, was striking out a lot, and finally comes through with a big hit. A lot of hits early in the season, too. Bloop hits, infield hits. That one was a no-doubter line drive.
Jackson Coots, who's batted towards the top of the order, now in the 8th spot. 3 for 8 on the summer. Vanderkoy again with runners on the corners here with 2 outs. Coots takes strike 1. And Jackson Coots, a very funny guy, has had a couple strikeouts in those games against Hyannis and Wareham. So he was jokingly like, oh, sweet, like my strikeout gets erased.
He's content.
Batting in the 8th spot, playing first base tonight from the University of Rhode Island. Sliding back into first is Blake Dunn, who has a few stolen bases on the summer. His parents are in town. Came in town on Friday hoping to see 4 games. But again, a couple rainouts, so they'll settle for the 2 here today on Sunday. Doors have 3 runs here in the bottom of the first, thanks partially to Dunn. Carey calls for time, and Jackson Coots will step out of the box.
Boy, how good have these Doors bats looked just over the last 2 innings played. Yesterday in the first inning, 4 runs on 3 hits. Now 3 runs on 4 hits.
I mean, they really look like a team that's just itching to play.
Yeah.
There's no sense of lollygagging whatsoever. They're coming up and swinging great bats, eyes to the ball, and the only practice they've really gotten is those few innings and BP. And I was watching some guys during batting practice today, some nukes. Barron Radcliffe hit about 4 home runs to right field. I mean, you can tell these guys are really jacked up.
Well, Jackson specifically, I heard him complaining to a teammate yesterday that he's like, I just want to get into a rhythm.
Right.
But it seems like not being in a rhythm is why they're hitting so well, which is funny enough. They're looking as good as they ever have been when they haven't been playing as often as they would, which is completely counterintuitive.
Right. Vanderkoy, after a conference with Greer, looks back to Dunn at first. Zach DeLoach is on third. There's a pitch out. 1-1.
I respect it. Blake's got a lot of speed. He hasn't been on the base paths a lot. I'm sure that Brett Becker at third base wants to send him as many times as he possibly can, because he's pretty much a stolen base guarantee with his speed.
3 runs on 4 hits for the Doors. They want more. Dunn is going towards second base. Slide into second. He's safe. And DeLoach did not move from third. So now 2 runners in scoring position, again with 2 outs.
There we go. Why not? Blake Dunn's got plenty of speed behind home plate. We know Jackson Greer doesn't have the best arm. He's a replacement over from Harwich, was released by them a couple days ago, picked up by YD. So Falmouth has seen him before. They know what that arm is like. They know Dunn's speed, and that's a matchup they'll take every day of the week.
That's one of those instances where you know what's coming and you still can't stop it.
Yeah, absolutely.
2-1. Fouled off the plate. Because they had a conference, they had a pitch out, and Dunn says, doesn't stop me.
It was a fastball, too,
Right.
that he ran on. He was taking a huge lead, so Vanderkoy probably could have done a better job of holding him close, but again, there's not much you can do against that type of talent.
Coots, the 6'3 junior at URI. Got a 2-2 count with 2 outs. Deloach on third, Dunn on second. Vanderkoy delivers, and again, fouled back. Kevin Kendall on deck. UCLA Bruin playing shortstop tonight. One of 3 Bruins who came to town recently. Kevin Kendall, reliever Sean Mullen, and Game 2 starter in Nick Nastrini.
Yeah.
I know some of the scouts are eager to watch him pitch. Highly rated guy in the Pac-12. Coots cracks one foul towards the bullpen, and he's working a good at-bat.
And the funny thing is we're so used to when the new guys show up and then they get thrown into the lineup right away without really any chance to pitch with their catchers or to adjust with batting practice with the wood bats. You know, Barron Radcliffe showed up 24 hours before, and then he was in the lineup the next day. These Pac-12 guys, they've had a week, so I think they're ready to go.
Vanderkoy has had a heavy workload here this inning. This is pitch number 29. Soft fly ball into right center field. Moving over is Brad Beasley. He gets there in time and makes the catch. First 3 batters up for the Commodores all come around and score. Doors are up 3-0 after 4 hits in the first inning, and we head to the second. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. Did you know that Baseball Factory...
Back here for the top of the second, Chris Gonzalez worked through the YD Red Sox in order. Hitters 1, 2, and 3. Now he'll face Riley King, Andrew Eister, and Riley Tirada. And Danny, for a guy who struggled his first time out, that cushion and that run support early has got to feel good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he looked pretty good in his first couple of innings against Bourne. It wasn't really until the 3rd or 4th inning where he started getting rattled around, but he didn't have a lead to work with really at all. Now with a 3-run cushion, he can get a little bit more comfortable and hopefully repeat that first inning that he had.
Change up to Riley King. Misses outside. King, a recent addition to the Red Sox squad. He fouls back the second pitch to make it 1-1. Goes to the University of Georgia. Playing right field tonight for the Red Sox, a rising redshirt junior who batted .307 down in Athens. 66 hits, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs. The 1-1 from Gonzalez. Cracked up the middle. It'll be into center field for a base hit. First hit of the afternoon for the Red Sox.
That's Gonzalez's bugaboo, is he just leaves too many pitches over the middle of the plate. That one was right down Broadway and just above the knees. And there's not much else you can do with a baseball like that. Riley King hit it just about perfectly, spanked it right back through the middle, and got pretty good exit velocity on it, too.
Yeah, it was out into center field in a hurry. No chance for Kevin Kendall at short. Gonzalez now pitching from the stretch for the first time tonight to Andrew Eister, who's been probably the best hitter for YD, hitting .471 this summer. Ball 1 misses outside. He plays his ball with the South Carolina Gamecocks. 2 doubles and a home run this summer. Batted .309 during his sophomore year. Fouls the ball back. He's been drafted a couple times, Danny. Drafted out of high school by the Diamondbacks in the 27th round. And then because of his age, he was drafted more recently by the Cleveland Indians in the 32nd round, opting to head back to South Carolina. Gonzalez misses way out, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, the transfer from Santa Fe Community College at JUCO. So that means that he's got a couple of years under his belt, was able to get drafted. That's one of the toughest things for scouts is finding those JUCO guys or some of those D2, D3 guys who can really become a major leaguer. That's why he was drafted in the 32nd round and why he comes back, because get more money in the higher rounds, and he knows that he's got the talent to do so.
Gonzalez struggling in this at-bat. That's the third ball that's missed way outside.
It looks like he's trying to go curveball and just slipping right out of his hand.
Gonzalez, the starter for the Doors from Stetson University, a rising junior, 6'1", 210, at a 3.40 ERA. Fires a fastball that misses just out, and it's a 5-pitch walk. Red Sox trying to get back in this thing. They got runners on first and second, nobody down.
It's just a totally different Chris Gonzalez from last inning. Last inning, he did face a 3-pitch count, or 3-ball count, ended up striking out Waddell. This inning, he gets hit with a pretty good shot on a pitch down the middle, and then he walks a batter on 5 pitches. He doesn't look like the guy who racked up 2 Ks and looked untouchable just an inning ago.
Riley Terada taps the plate. Rising junior at Dayton University. Lefty-righty matchup. Strike 1 on the inside black. He's from South Bend, Indiana, went to Mishawaka Marion High School. One of 2 guys to start all 59 games for the Dayton Flyers this past year. He batted .260. Got a chance to put the runners down into second and third base as that bunt is foul.
Again, opposing teams just cannot bunt against the Commodores.
Yeah.
This is insane. They seem to always put down foul bunts. I have not seen a play on a bunt as of yet.
Makes it 0-2, so unlikely that Terada will try to bunt here. Scott Pickler, manager for the Red Sox, is coaching third base for YD. He's in his 21st season. He and Trundy have been head coaches at their respective positions, respective teams, for the same amount of time now, both in year 21. 0-2 count to Terada. Thought about going around, but it misses low. 1-2.
I think Pickler deserves a shout-out, deserves a congratulations. Racked up win number 500 a couple of days ago.
Red Sox look good. That 4-3-1 record hasn't put them at the top of the standings in the East, but they got a couple big wins. This one lofted into center field. Blake Dunn has to shield the sun. He seems to have a read on it, makes the catch. Tagging and going into third is Riley King. No play at third base. Runners on the corners and 1 down.
So it's pretty much as good as a bunt. It'll hurt Terada's average, but at least it moves a runner over to third base, and now a sac fly will bring him home, although there is a chance of a double play because of runners on the corner, so I expect Gonzalez to try to keep the ball real low to Wyatt Young and force a ground ball.
Wyatt Young, a rising sophomore at Pepperdine University. This is his first start on the Cape. Batted .313 this past year, 67 hits. Not a lot of power. Only 5 extra base hits, 3 of them doubles, 2 of them home runs. He's a lefty, stands at just 5'7". He's a little guy. Gonzalez delivers, strike 1.
And still hitting on the Cape so far, .333. So he's showing that he doesn't have to, you don't have to be huge in order to hit well.
Lefty-lefty matchup here with 1 down in the top of the second. Nice slider that moves in for strike 2.
That was the pitch Gonzalez was looking for against Eister when he walked him on 5 pitches. We saw those back-to-back fall way outside. This time he has it loop perfectly over the strike zone and into the knees.
Gonzalez delivers. It's a 3-pitch strikeout. Gonzalez working very quickly against Young, now 2 down.
Yeah, that was easy work. He looks like he settled back in when his back was against the wall, when he had nowhere to put King for being on third base. Response with 3 beautiful pitches. Those ones were pretty much untouchable, painting the corners.
So Tate Samuelson is up with 2 down, trying to get the YD Red Sox on the board. Gonzalez again missing outside. It seems like with those righty batters, he has a little bit more trouble, as he fired a handful of balls to Andrew Eister, the big righty DH, and misses on the first pitch to Samuelson. Ball 2 again misses outside. That one a little bit closer. Samuelson from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. That's a mouthful. And the YD Red Sox have, I think it's 4 players from that school.
They have a lot of guys from the Big West Conference.
2-0 misses just downstairs. And it's a 3-0 count. A ball here would load the bases for YD. Jackson Greer is on deck. Strike 1 right down the pipe. Did not have the green light. Samuelson playing first for the Red Sox tonight. Gonzalez with a long look at first base, and he fires strike 2, now full count, and 1 pitch away from leaving 2 runners stranded.
That would be huge. Would take him a lot of pitches, but after getting allowing the first 2 runners on base and getting a guy to third with less than 2 outs to get out of this jam, keep the game 3-0 would be enormous, especially seeing how out of this inning there's only 5 more left because it's a 7-inning ball game.
Samuelson batted .298 this past year. Runners moving. Fouls it back into the screen. All Big West honorable mention back in 2018. Won the team Rookie of the Year during his freshman campaign. He's from California as well, growing up in San Diego. Here's the 3-2. Again gets a piece of it and stays alive. Big at bat here, and both sides are acting like it. Samuelson 2 for 8 to start the summer. Here's Gonzalez working quickly. Strike 3, got him looking. That same pitch on the right side of the plate that Tom Carey's been calling a strike is the difference here in the top of the second. 2 leadoff base runners for the YD Red Sox are both left stranded, and 2 big strikeouts from Gonzalez gets him out unscathed. It's 3-0 Doors as we head to the second.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
Falmouth and YD squaring off today in a doubleheader. We're glad you're joining us on the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network. Hitters 9-1 and 2 due up for the Doors here in inning number 2. After 8 Commodores came to the plate in the first inning. And Danny, again, the bats were clicking.
Yeah, just like yesterday when they sent 10 up to the plate.
Vanderkoy to Kendall, who lifts one into center field. Beasley has plenty of time, and he makes the catch. Kevin Kendall from UCLA batted .258 this past year with the Bruins, and he swings at the first pitch he sees, flies out to center. Second straight out for the Commodores that has been a fly out to center field. And now the top of the order. Back up for Falmouth. Hayden Cantrell reached when he was hit on the right shoulder. Came around to score the first run of this ball game. Watches ball 1 skip low. Austin Langworthy and Trey Cruz, the 3 Commodores who have scored today, Langworthy and Cruz both with singles in about the same spot, past Young at second base. Ball 2 misses from Vanderkoy. Trying to settle down after giving up 3 earned runs in the first. The 2-0. Settles in for a strike. And the Commodores scored 4 runs in the first inning against Wareham yesterday. Again, that game erased, so all of those stats null and void. But they have come out firing early and often these past couple days. The 3-0. Cantrell had the green light. I think it was foul tipped into the mitt.
Hayden's been red hot lately, and he was red hot yesterday too. He stole a base, got on base a couple of times, but Hayden was, again, gets that one erased, and now he's off to a tough start here.
Strike 3 got him looking. Cantrell again not happy with the strike zone, as a handful of players for both teams have felt the same.
Well, you know what? I was really surprised on the Samuelson punch-out to end the top of the second inning. I think Gonzalez got away with one. That one looked really outside. That pitch at least was a good frame job by Jackson Greer. Might have been a hair outside, but with 2 strikes, might have to protect if you're Cantrell. But boy, oh boy, these outside pitches, they look a little bit tough.
Yeah, the zone's definitely wide this afternoon, with Tom Carey calling the balls and strikes behind the plate. Again, Brian Troop down at first and John Petula at third. Those umps will switch positions for game number 2. As Langworthy lifts one into the opposite field, backtracking is Wells, and he makes a basket catch on the run. Doors go down in order. Second straight ball that Austin Langworthy has put a ride into, but Vanderkoy works out of it, and it's 3-0 Falmouth. We'll take a break and be back for the top of the third inning.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Top 3 here at Gov Fuller Field. Jackson Greer, then the top of the order in Brad Beasley and Luke Waddell due up for the Red Sox. They had Riley King reach on a leadoff single. He was left stranded at third to end that second inning. Eister, who worked a walk, stayed put at first. YD left 2 runners stranded in the second. Greer swings at the first pitch and is under it. It's back behind the press box, 0-1.
Falmouth has now seen Jackson Greer 4 times.
Wow.
3 times with Harwich, now once with YD. We'll see if he sticks with YD and if Falmouth ends up facing him a ton more this season.
Gonzalez with some break on that pitch to settle in on the outside part of the plate, 0-2. Out of the hand, I thought that was going to be way outside, but it took a sharp right turn and found the strike zone.
He's got that breaking ball back.
The 0-2. Fastball away. Greer didn't chase. Something I'm interested in. 0-2 almost always seems to be a ball. It's a throwaway pitch, I feel like, for the most part. So if I'm up with 0-2, I'm probably not swinging, even though I think you might have to protect. Ball 2 misses upstairs, and now the count's even.
Well, what's interesting is how every single not every single pitcher, but a lot of pitchers with 0-2, they seem to be going to fastballs instead of breaking balls, which I wonder if the hitters have adjusted to that.
2-2 is that off speed back towards the food shack. Count stays the same. Yeah, I think they try to get fastball swinging. They leave it like a high cheddar. You saw outside fastball from Gonzalez there.
If you have a fastball as a punch-out pitch, boy, are you deadly.
Right. Here's the 2-2. This one is into left field. It'll land for a base hit. Greer works back and gets a single after being down 0-2. And again, a leadoff runner on for YD.
That was a good pitch by Gonzalez, too. Not much he can be upset about. That was Greer just going down, taking out his 9-iron, spanking it into left field. Kind of probably swung at a ball, but kind of got lucky with it with a great swing.
Brad Beasley, the leadoff man, flew out to Zach DeLoach in right, his first time up on a kind of bloop shot into shallow right center field that Cantrell, Dunn, and DeLoach all ran for. Ball one outside. Seen a couple of those balls, especially the ones in shallow left center, cause the Doors some trouble.
Yeah.
Still working out the kinks a little bit as this is game 8 of 44. Ball 2 to Beasley. Beasley also from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, batted .283 last year. He watches strike one tag the outside black. And I was looking at his stats, Danny, ridiculously consistent.
Mm-hmm.
In his junior year, he scored 32 runs. In his sophomore and freshman year, he scored 33. This one's cracked into left field. It's going to hop and get to the wall. Langworthy has to run for it. We'll see if they get the green light at third. Greer will hold up, and a double from Beasley puts runners on second and third with nobody out.
Another really good pitch that Gonzalez left over the middle of the plate. That's his issue, is he doesn't throw a lot of walks, but he throws a lot of good pitches. That one, a breaking ball that hung up in the zone about belt high, middle into Beasley, and he was able to put it right back where he needed to. Again, another strong hit. None of these hits have been gimme hits or bloopers or anything like that. They've been getting to Gonzalez pretty well.
Luke Waddell is up and misses outside. I do want to finish that point on Beasley, though. All 3 years in college, he's had 62 hits.
That's consistent.
That's insane. And his average has only swayed about 30 points. Strike one into Waddell. He hit .305 freshman year, .277 sophomore year, .283 junior year. I don't think I've ever seen stats so consistent at the college level because usually you see a big change from one year to the other. Breaking ball misses outside, 2-1.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Is my take on it, especially with pitchers, is if a pitcher has a really good freshman year, he has a bad sophomore year, or vice versa.
It seems like it, right? You see either drastic improvement or maybe a step back. Strike two.
That's a great pitch.
To Waddell. Looked like a slider from Gonzalez.
Painted the outside corner, kept it knee high. Nothing Waddell could do with it. He just has to take it.
Red Sox trying to capitalize with the 2 runners in scoring position and nobody out. Waddell chops one back up the middle over Gonzalez, quickly fielded by Kendall, and boy, oh boy, talk about a great first play in the field from Kevin Kendall. The run does score. It's 3-1.
Kind of got a little bit worrisome yesterday, seeing that Cruz and Cantrell weren't going to be the duo up the middle anymore because they looked like they had such great chemistry. But Kevin Kendall, with the very first opportunity he gets either yesterday or today, and he makes it look so easy. That's a fast runner, Waddell, going over to first base. Had to be a good throw, had to be a quick transfer, sliding over to your left with runners on base too, and he does everything perfectly.
That slider misses outside to Austin Wells, Pac-12 freshman of the year, who struck out on 4 pitches his first time up. And yeah, I think what impressed me the most about that play by Kendall was the speed. I mean, because that was a high chopper up the middle, got past Gonzalez. Sometimes you see runners beat those out. But Kevin Kendall making it look seamless.
That's not even his glove either.
Really?
That's his coach's glove.
Wow.
He said that his glove got snapped in half this season on a 1-6-3 double play. His pitcher just took his glove right off.
Wow.
So he has to use his coaches now, and it looks like it's a natural.
3 balls to Austin Wells. Wells hitting .333 on the summer. A Arizona Wildcat. This one lifted into deep left center field. Langworthy's back, and it's going to hop off the wall. No problem for Brad Beasley to score, and a 1-out double from Austin Wells.
Gonzalez continues to get hit around. We knew that this was coming, that YD has really good bats. 3-0 is definitely not a score that you should be comfortable with against this offensive powerhouse. And seeing how Bourne got to Gonzalez pretty well in that last time out for Chris, it was only a matter of time until YD started pouring some on.
Claunch comes out to talk to Gonzalez. Doors still have the lead. It's 3-2 now. And another runner in scoring position for the Red Sox. And they have really good stats offensively. 282 team batting average, that's second in the Cape League. 72 hits, second in the Cape League. 6 home runs is third in the league. And runs scored, they have 51, which is first. They also have the greatest run differential in the East Division. Here's a ball taken for a ride into center field. Dunn is there, though. Wells is going to tag. Here's a nuke from Dunn into third base, but it won't get there in time. So it advances the base runner and is the second out of this top of the third inning.
He was maybe 10 or 15 feet from the dead center field fence and still throws it into third base on a 2-hopper. Blake Dunn has a great arm. Of course, that one was way too deep, way too good of a jump from Wells for it to be close. But I can't wait for an opportunity for Dunn to be able to get an outfield assist. I think it's going to be a fun play to watch.
Andrew Eister didn't swing the bat too much his first time up. He worked a 5-pitch walk. Swings at the first pitch, and it's into shallow right field. DeLoach tracking. It's going to hop in for a base hit. Running on the pitch, or on contact, was Austin Wells, and this game is tied.
And that was really the first hit that was a blooper. That was kind of an undeserving hit for YD. Of course, any hit is deserving, but that was the first not really well-struck baseball that they've been able to put through. Otherwise, they have put together a bevy of really well-hit balls, and finally one gives way, and unfortunately for Gonzalez, it was a great pitch, and now it's a tie ball game as he's looking like he's really struggling to keep guys from making contact out there.
Landry out to not only talk to Gonzalez, but make a quick call to the bullpen. Sean Mullen coming in for his first action in the maroon and white. And Danny, another tough outing for Gonzalez.
Yeah, he just continues to get hit around. It's not walks, it's not hit by pitches, it's none of that. He's just throwing a lot of strikes, and teams are jumping on it. It's a matter of trying to hit your spots, hit those corners, keep the ball low. Instead, he's been keeping the ball about belt high, a lot of middle in to both righties and lefties, and that's never a formula for success.
So Sean Mullen comes in, a rising sophomore at UCLA, stands at 6'1", 185. He is a righty from Bakersfield, California, went to Stockdale High School. He was drafted out of high school in the 35th round by the Colorado Rockies. He had great high school stats, 2.66 ERA, with 216 Ks across 4 years. In 2019, didn't get that much of a chance for the UCLA Bruins. Only pitched 6 1/3, a 1-0 record, 5 walks, 6 strikeouts.
And I don't think that's indicative of his talent. If you look across at all of pretty much the top 10 teams across the country, very, very few of them will have freshmen playing that consistently.
Right.
I think of Louisville off the top of my head, where they have they had the #1 shortstop in the country, I think it was, and he didn't play at all this season because he's behind Tyler Fitzgerald. Same thing with Sean Mullen. When you're on the #1 team in the country for 12 weeks straight, they're not going to be going to you that often because the reason they're #1 is because they have so many great sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So the fact that he didn't get a lot of chances doesn't mean much. The fact that he's a UCLA Bruin means a lot. It means that he's got talent and he's one of the key cogs to UCLA's plan of staying #1.
He was ranked the 38th best overall player in California out of high school. And again, California just a gold mine of talent. No pun intended, Golden State, but yeah, you mentioned it, Danny. Last summer he did play, even before his freshman year, with the Yakima Valley Pippins in the West Coast League.
A lot of guys in the West Coast League on this YD team because we mentioned they have such a host of UC schools, the University of California school system guys. So a lot of these guys may have seen Mullen last year in the West Coast League.
So all 3 Bruins are going to get some action here on Sunday. Kevin Kendall starting at short in Game 1. Sean Mullen coming in relief here in a 3-3 ball game, and Nick Nastrini is the starter for Game number 2. Terada trying to add some more for YD. Andrew Eister stands at first base with a oppo single that bounced in front of Zach DeLoach. And coming back from this break, we'll toss to Katie Florio, who talked to the pitching coach Mike Landry, because that's something I'm really interested in, Danny, is how these rainouts have affected the rotation, because it cannot be easy for him right now.
No.
1-0 chopped foul towards Scott Pickler.
And definitely not for the starters either. I mean, we were talking about how frustrated Carmen Majinski was yesterday.
He threw 2 pitches.
He threw 2 pitches, and then he, like I said for Franco Aleman a couple days before, you wake up that day thinking that you're going to pitch, and then it gets pushed back 3-4 days, and you actually do pitch, and it doesn't even count.
Right.
And there goes your start.
The 1-1 tags the inside black in a 1-2 count, 2 down. Mullen's first batter faced on the Cape. Highly recruited guy from Bakersfield, California, playing with the #1 Bruins this year. UCLA bounced in the Super Regional to Michigan, who is in the championship round against Vanderbilt. Terada late on the fastball, but he gets a piece of it to stay alive.
There's another thing Kevin Kendall told me was that he's like he said that it doesn't feel good, but it feels a little bit better when you see Michigan doing as well as they are.
Right.
You're never happy with a loss. You're never content with it. But hey, at least that team is really proving that they're one of the top in the country.
The 1-2 from Mullen doesn't break, and Riley Terada gets hit on the back, and he trots to first. Mullen looked good on those first 4 pitches, but the 5th missed way inside.
Yeah, and the second strike that he threw was that exact same pitch. It was a curveball. It broke perfectly on the inside corner. I think he was trying to go back to that, trying to see if he could buckle Terada's knees on a curveball that's pretty much unhittable, but you got to throw it over the strike zone. He did not, like you said, it did not break and did not move at all.
So Wyatt Young is up, trying to keep the 2-out rally alive for YD. Scored 3 runs here in the 3rd to tie this ball game. Mullen kicks and delivers outside. Pac-12 to Pac-12 as Troy Clonch from Oregon State is doing the catching behind the plate. We talked about it during our pregame show, but a recent addition in Noah Holland is the backup catcher for the Commodores for now, as Michael Turner went home. Permanent player from Kent State cut his summer short. The 1-0. Wyatt Young thought about it, but didn't go around. Troy Clonch doing the catching was the backup to Adley Rutschman, #1 overall pick in the 2019 MLB draft. Spent the summer of 2017 here at the Gov.
All right, Troy, that's the expectations for you.
The 2-0 is upstairs, and Mullen all of a sudden can't find the strike zone to the small Wyatt Young.
He did have, in his limited amount of time, 5 walks and 6 1/3, which isn't a walk per inning pace, but still more walks than you would ideally have. So Mullen has a little bit of control issues and not a lot of chances to show off. So we'll see if that actually is the case, or whether it's just a matter of trying to find himself.
Strike 1 at the knees of Young. Young struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. He's been with the Red Sox all summer. Came into today batting 7 for 21, .333 average. Pepperdine University starting at second base today. He's choking up on the 3-1. And it's lifted into center field. Blake Dunn comes charging in. It's going to bounce. And Dunn throwing home. Cut off by Coots at first base, and sliding in to take the lead is Andrew Reister. It's 4-3.
I don't know if that would have been an out at the plate. Looked like it would have been very close at the least if it gotten to home plate. But you at least got to give your catcher a chance. So that would have been on a line to Clonch. He probably would have caught it about eye level, slapped the tag on. Would have been close. Instead, Coots decides to cut it off. That's the second time where Jackson has cut off a throw from the outfield on a potential outfield assist. So a questionable call for Jackson, obviously impossible to tell, but one that I would think you just got to let it go through.
Andrew Eister came all the way around from second base. He does not have a lot of speed. He's designated hitting for a reason. So Wyatt Young gets an RBI single to keep this inning alive. Wagging at the first pitch is Tate Samuelson, 0-1.
Gonzalez's line still not final, but with 4 runs tagged to it and only 2 2/3 innings pitched, that's not going to help his season overall, which was already, like we mentioned, off to a rocky start.
Gave up 5 earned runs in his first start against Bourne. It was a 10-2 loss for the Doors. 8 days ago. Nice block by Clonch, running towards third, throw down, and it gets past Tim Tawa. Stays on the infield, so staying put is Terada, but now runners on the corners.
Yeah, luckily Tawa was able to slow it down just enough, because
Right.
if that one leaked into the outfield, that would be the 5th run home on the inning alone. Would have been a 2-run ball game with the Doors trailing, and would have been one that you really want back, because that's a mistake that you cannot make.
9th batter to come to the plate for the Red Sox. Sean Mullen is 1-1. Strike right down the middle. Samuelson struck out his first time up on 8 pitches. He worked a really good at-bat, fouled back a few balls. Jackson Greer is on deck, who started off this inning with a single. Came around to score the first run of the afternoon for YD. Mullen lifts the left leg and delivers. Fouled back behind the bleachers. Tate Samuelson played with the Waterloo Bucks in the Northwoods League last summer. One of many Northwoods guys to make the jump to the Cape in 2019. Cape is still the premier summer league for college baseball players. 2 strike is fouled back, and again, the count remains the same. Samuelson does a good job defending with 2 strikes.
Yeah, he worked out a 3-ball count in the 2nd inning, fell behind 3-0, watched 2 pitches go by, fouled off a couple more. With 2 strikes against him right here, still fouling off a couple of pitches. He's a tough guy. Even though he was put down on strikes in the 2nd, he's definitely a tough guy to put away.
Mullen's 15th pitch on the way to Samuelson. Strike 3, got him looking. That'll do it. Throw down to second base. That's the 3rd out. Doesn't matter anyways. As Mullen and the Doors walk back to the dugout. YD Red Sox storm back to take the lead with 4 runs on 5 hits here in the 3rd inning. It's 4-3 YD, and we'll be back with a special report from Katie Florio after the break.
Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons. Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more. Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over one...
Katie Florio back down here on the field, and earlier today I was talking to pitching coach Mike Landry, and I asked him, can you even describe how all of this rain has affected your pitching staff? And he jokingly said, well, we definitely have some fresh arms, but no, it has been hard for them, especially in the games where they've started, but then they've had to call them midway through. But he said his guys, they know how to cope with this. They've been throwing every day and trying to keep their routine as consistent as possible. Luckily, today is a gorgeous day, probably the nicest day we've had since the season has started, so hopefully we can get both of these games in today. Guys?
Thank you, Katie. Great report. And our camera's working. We're back up in the booth. That was great.
Everything's working smooth, and
you gotta knock on wood when you say something like that.
She
Danny.
said that Landry is finding or trying to find a rhythm with his guys. We're trying to find a rhythm as well, like you were insinuating.
And really, that's a great report from Katie, because Coach Landry has had to deal with all kinds of delays, pushbacks. He's got guys who've been here almost 3 weeks now who've thrown 1 inning.
Yeah.
I mean, think about a guy like Zach Brixey.
Yeah.
Closer from Virginia Tech. He threw 1 game back in the 2nd game of the year on June 11th. It's the 23rd now. I mean, these guys came to the Cape to play baseball, as we said. 0-2 to start off this inning. Trey Cruz is up at the plate, but Mike Landry and the coaching staff here in Falmouth, no strangers to this kind of stuff. Maybe not this degree, but they know how to problem solve.
Yeah, Landry was fantastic at managing the bullpen, managing the pitching staff last year, and I would not expect him to falter in that this year either.
Trey Cruz singled and scored in the first inning. Doors now trail for the first time today. Vanderkooy's working with a lead on the bump. He misses low and inside, 3-2.
But you got to hope if you're the Dorses that Vanderkooy doesn't settle into a rhythm. So often you can see guys get lit up in the first inning, and then after that they're perfect.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting base runners on and keeping him on his toes and kind of whittling away the confidence.
Vanderkooy with a long windup. And Cruz fends it off. Bullpen for the YD Red Sox, where that ball was hit towards, settled nicely in the shade. Those guys are smart.
Yeah.
Sun's hot today. We had some people putting on sunscreen, rightfully so. I mean, little to no cloud cover. Here's the 3-2 to Cruz. Ball 4, high and out. And the leadoff runner is on by way of the free pass for Troy Clonch.
There you go. First inning, you got the leadoff runner on due to a hit by pitch. Third inning, you get the lead runner on with a walk. It was just the second where Vanderkooy looked really sharp when he worked a 1-2-3 inning. Now, base runners is the name of the game. Try to use Cruz's speed to your advantage, and better yet, the heart of the order is up right now.
Clonch and Tawa will come to the plate here in the third. Both struck out in that first inning. Maybe they didn't like a couple of the strike calls, but nonetheless, that we'll see how they adjust to their second at-bat as the first pitch fastball from Vanderkooy misses low and away. Troy Clonch batted .264 at Oregon State this past year. Last summer, he was in the Alaska League with the Anchorage Bucks. Batted .280. Check on Cruz. He slides back in safely.
How do you like Alaska? Did you talk to him about it?
I have not. The only guy I talked to about the Alaska League was Will Brennan last year, and he said it was cool. He said he wouldn't want to live there, but for summer ball, it was an all right experience. Here's a ball tried to be backhanded by Terada, but he boofs it. Moving over towards second base is Cruz, and Clonch will reach on what's likely to be scored an error. The Doors have 2 runners on and nobody out.
Yeah, that's an easy E5. That probably would have been 2. I don't know how Clonch's speed is at the catcher position, but would have had to be a quick turn because it was a slow chopper, but potentially a 5-4-3 double play. Absolutely would have gotten the out at first. But instead, first and second, nobody out, and sometimes you need to get a little bit of a gift to try to get back in a ball game.
So Cruz reaches on a walk. Troy Clonch is on first with the first error of the day by either side. It's Riley Terada over at third. YD, a .970 fielding percentage so far this year. And here's a ball hit up the middle, but right there was the shortstop onto first for 2. What a great play by Luke Waddell with the flip to Wyatt Young onto Tate Samuelson. 2 down and a man on third.
Yeah, I thought for sure that one was getting up the middle. Cruz was going to score. It was going to be a tie game, but at double play depth, that's why you put your middle infielders at double play depth. Waddell, plenty of speed getting over there. Learned from his mistake in the first inning. Got to get rid of it quick. Quick flip with his momentum carrying him in the wrong direction as well, so credit the accuracy on a short throw. Nice turn over at second base by Young, and that is a really tough double play to turn that they made look easy.
And those guys up the middle, both small guys. Luke Waddell only 5'9" at short. And Wyatt Young at second is 5'7". Strike one comes into Deloach. What I was impressed with was how Wyatt Young was expecting that flip from Waddell on the move, because I didn't know if he was going to try to tap the bag maybe and throw onto first base, but good communication from those two men. As this one is poked into right field, and Cruz will come in to score. This game is all of a sudden tied with an RBI single by Zach Deloach.
All right, barring a travesty, Zach Deloach, third time's the charm for him. Because he had the RBI double against Hyannis, washed. Yesterday, had a hit, run scored, washed. And now he's 2 for 2, 2 RBIs, both of them singles, finally getting it done. He improves to 2-7 on the summer. Deloach really swinging a good bat. I know we've been saying that a lot, but now it officially he is swinging a good bat.
Blake Dunn watches a first pitch strike. He singled and moved over to second base in the first inning. Did you hear what just happened?
No.
I heard some thunder out in center field.
God, don't even mess with me.
I'm getting death stares in the press box right now. The 0-1 from Vanderkooy. Check swing from Dunn. It's fouled down into his cleat 0-2.
This is kind of fun, isn't it? Seeing a lot of runs scored. I mean, think back to a week ago, the only other doubleheader played on the season against Harwich. It was a pretty uneventful 2 games for both sides. I mean, Harwich did score 7 runs, but in a blowout 7-1. Falmouth lost game 1, 1-0. Now we've got a real good game on our hands with a lot of bats.
Running towards second base. The throw is on a line and skipping into center field. Throw now to third. Zach DeLoach slides in. This one's booted at third base. But Tirada will run it down, and DeLoach will stay put 90 feet away. That was a chaotic play. A nice throw by Jackson Greer, but a little bit of a low hop, too hot to handle for Wyatt Young. Then Brad Beasley had to come charging in from center and throw onto third.
I was hoping that was going to get away again.
Right.
Just so we could see some more antics on the base path. Sometimes seeing some Little League ball is fun, but credit Boyd Vanderkoy doing his job covering third base.
So 1-2 to Blake Dunn, who had an RBI his first time up and stole a base. This one is softly grounded over towards Wyatt Young at second. Quick throw onto first, but he's safe. Second time that the Doors have made the middle infielders pay for YD. Wyatt Young took his time on a softly hit ground ball, and it's 5-4 Falmouth.
So last time that happened, I blamed Waddell a little bit with kind of taking his time and throwing a soft throw onto first base. I think that Young did a great job on that. There wasn't much he could do, but credit Blake Dunn busting his butt out of the box, knowing that he hit it so softly, and with his speed, he could make a play of it. So he wasted no time getting the bat down, hustling down to first base, and he beat it by a mile. Not much Young could do. Again, Dunn just winning with his speed.
Doors retake the lead. It's 5-4 in favor of the home team. Jackson Coots takes a strike on the inside part of the plate. He flew out to center to end the first inning, in which the Doors scored 3 runs. Yeah, no, I got to agree with you, Danny, because he did get down the line in a hurry. He really does have some speed. This one chopped over to Tirada, who handles it and lofts a throw across the diamond for the third out. The Doors add 2. They're up by 1. We'll be back for the top of the 4th. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school, and over 100,000 college success stories. You too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Back here in the top of the 4th inning, as the Doors are up 5-4. And Danny, we don't know how set in stone the schedule is based on the weather, but we'll take a look at the road ahead.
Well, more off days, and these have to be off days because we know Monday is the annual fundraiser for the Doors. It's the golf tournament. And then Thursday, every team goes to Fenway. You're not going to schedule a game on that. You got to have the Fenway workout day. So now it's another week in which there are 2 designated off days. So where it's going to be sometime in July where there's going to be a lot of games played to make up all these rainouts. Otherwise, you got Brewster coming up for the first time this season, then home versus Hyannis. YD out on the road in about a week. Bourne and Chatham after that.
That'll round out the month of June, in which the Doors so far have played 7 games and are at 3-3-1. This was supposed to be game 12, I believe. Again, the numbers kind of, get all fudged up, but the Doors will play games 8 and 9 here today against YD and try to move above 500. As the first couple pitches from Sean Mullen have looked good. It's Jackson Greer to start things off again. He led off the top of the 3rd inning with a single and scored. Swings and misses, a drop third strike. Troy Clonch moves out to his left and throws to Jackson Coots, 1 away.
think Mullins figured it out. He came on last inning, just needed one out, took him almost 20 pitches, faced a couple of batters, just couldn't quite find the strike zone, let up a hit, but this time around he responds. Quick strikeout, really located his pitches well, saw another 0-2 pitch way in the dirt. This time he got Greer to chase, and now it's back to the top of the order and a real challenge for Mullen yet again.
Brad Beasley really got a hold of one his last time up. It was a double into deep left field. He came around to score as well. And speaking of that road ahead, for those of you that have your calendars out in front of you, most of the Mondays were blocked off to be off days as Beasley watches a ball low. It's 2-0. So the June 18th game against Orleans, which was supposed to be last Tuesday, is July 1st, Monday, 6 p.m. The Bourne game is the week after that, July 8th. So these Mondays are just evaporating.
Yeah.
June 20th game, which was Thursday, the one that got 4 innings through against Hyannis, scheduled for July 15th. Again, another Monday. And then June 21st, which was Friday against Orleans, is scheduled for July 25th. The one game that has yet to be rescheduled is the game yesterday against Wareham. 2-1 in the dirt to Claunch. He keeps it in front of him.
So as of yet, no double headers in two separate locations.
Correct. There's a possibility that the Commodores, we know last year against Chatham, for example, they had 2 rainouts. Both of them were supposed to be in Falmouth, so they scheduled a doubleheader on a weekday. This one popped behind the plate. Troy Claunch circling around. He can't get to it. Twisting and swirling, but couldn't find a read on the ball. So now a 3-2 count to Beasley.
What a weird pop-up.
Yeah, that was crazy. We couldn't really see it from here in the press box, but Troy Claunch came out behind, then moved to his right. Wind's blowing a little bit softly out towards left field in the scoreboard. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, so the Chatham doubleheader last year was an example of one that wasn't scheduled, but because they had so many games to make up, and by so many I mean like 4 as opposed to 7. And then there was one team on the Cape last year, I believe it was Hyannis, who had to play 2 games in 2 different locations on the same day to make up for all of their missed time. Strike 3, got him looking. Second strikeout of the inning for Sean Mullen, who seems to be getting in a groove.
Yeah, I think he's settled in. I think he's got his confidence. Nobody on base. You know, we talked about it a couple days ago where relievers, when they come in to innings with a ton of guys on base, like how do you get into that mindset? How do you settle things down? You're throwing your first pitches of the summer, and you're trying to make sure that your team can stay in the lead. Well, this time he comes into this inning after that tough appearance, coming in with runners on base, and he looks A-OK with nobody on.
Mullen's first pitch to Waddell misses outside. Waddell hitting 2 and playing short today, 0 for 2. Struck out looking in the first, grounded out to short in the third. He lifts one into shallow left field. Austin Langworthy comes charging in, and he makes the catch. The YD Red Sox go down in order. Sean Mullen wheeling and dealing on the mound with 2 strikeouts. And the Doors have the lead heading to the bottom of the 4th. Remember, 7-inning games here for the doubleheader. We'll be back after the break.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
For sales and rentals of Caterpillar machinery, generators, and marine engines, visit MiltonCat.com, your area cat dealer. Milton Cat, the Cape and Islands Caterpillar dealer, is proud to be a sponsor of today's game.
Now batting, the shortstop from the University.
Vanderkoy back out for his 4th inning of work. Ran into trouble in the first and the third. He was seamless in the second, retiring the Doors in order. And it was these 3 hitters who are due up in Kevin Kendall, Hayden Cantrell, and Austin Langworthy. Doors retook the lead in the third. They'll try to add to it here, and this will help. Hard hit ball into right center field. It one-hops the wall. Beasley will field it. We'll see if Kendall will go for 3. He will not. Trots into second base, and his second at-bat in the Doors uniform is a hard hit double to right center field.
The following 3 thoughts went into my head when I saw Vanderkoy coming out for this inning. I thought, I wonder why he's coming back out for a 4th inning of work after allowing to this point 6 hits, 5 runs, couple walks. And then I thought, well, it is 9-1 and 2, the guys he put down in order in the 2nd inning.
Right.
And then I saw Kendall hit that baseball, and I thought, well, this is not the 2nd inning. And things are going to look different, and I don't know if Vanderkoy can get out of this inning unless he gets maybe a double play soon.
Vanderkoy was a starter for the Arizona State Sun Devils this year. Got 16 starts, and he really settled in the last final 3 weekends of the season. Across those 3 starts, he had a 2.25 ERA as he fires in first pitch ball to Hayden Cantrell, who was flashing bunt. So those final 3 weekends, 2.25 ERA, 4 walks, 22 strikeouts. And he had 11 Ks in 7 innings pitched against number 3 Stanford, Tim Tawa and company, in the final game of the regular season.
It's not a bad game to end on.
Yeah, not at all. Arizona State again making the NCAA regional and losing to Southern Mississippi a couple times in heartbreaking fashion. I mean, holy moly.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else got as tough of a result from their regional as Arizona State.
Because if you're getting bounced in the regional phase, you're losing twice, right? That's how it happens. Double elimination. And the 2 losses that they had, both to the Southern Mississippi Golden Eagles, were brutal. They just got slapped around in game 1. I believe it was like 15-3.
They lit up like 12 runs
in
the
1
first
inning. It was I think it might have been the middle of the game. It was like the 4th or 5th inning. They gave up over 10 runs in 1/2 inning. As Vanderkoy will come off the mound and check on Kendall.
But what was worse was the elimination game.
Yeah, easily.
They were up, 9-1
yeah.
at some point, and then kind of blew it all in the 8th and 9th innings.
I believe they lost 12-10.
And got walked off on.
That's just brutal. It was their first trip back to an NCAA regional in about 5 years as well. Vanderkoy is going to flash towards second base. Nobody's covering the bag, but Kendall will slide in nonetheless.
Yeah, it's their first trip back in a couple of years. They have one of the most, if not the most potent offense in NCAA Division I.
Spencer Torkelson, some really great guys. Hayden Cantrell lays down a good bunt towards first base, fielding and throwing on to Wyatt Young as Tate Samuelson, 1 down, but the runner advances to third.
Yeah, I think we forget that in a 5-4 game, with all the runs that the Doors have been putting up, now they're back in the lead. Game's starting to wind down because it's only 7 innings.
Right.
That it still is a 1-run game, so small ball will still benefit you. If you're relievers, if Mullen can stay at the rate he is, a 1-run, 2-run lead might be a nice cushion, and that's exactly what Jeff Trundy and company were just thinking. Hey, how about we move over the runner to third base, sacrifice an out, because even though our bats have been red hot, we got to be careful against a YD team that also swings well.
YD infielders playing in on the grass as ball 1 settles in by the cleats of Austin Langworthy. Riley Terada at third, Luke Waddell at short, Wyatt Young at second, and Tate Samuelson at first will all likely be flashing home and trying to hold Kendall at third base. Did he go around? No, he did not on the appeal to John Petula at third. Hitters count to Austin Langworthy, who's been swinging a good bat today. He's 1 for 2, but that 1 out was a hard hit ball into left field to end the 2nd inning. Vanderkoy delivers inside, 3-0.
Still nobody warming in the YD bullpen. I'm shocked.
That's interesting.
They had him Vanderkoy, throw 7 innings his first time out, and we mentioned it a bunch of times that usually the first outing of the summer for guys is 4 or 5 innings just to keep them fresh.
4-pitch walk to Austin Langworthy. Puts runners on the corners here with 1 down. Now those middle infielders will head back to double play depth. Corner infielders will stay in on the grass for Trey Cruz, who's reached and scored both times in the 1st and 3rd.
Yeah, this is the red-hot Trey Cruz. You mentioned he reached and scored both times. Last game, I know it's not really last game, but against Wareham on Monday, 4 for 4, a couple of RBIs. 7 for his last 14 entering today. Will make it 8 for his last 15 now, plus the walk. So he has been one of the hottest, if not the hottest bat in this lineup.
Yeah, Danny, I totally agree. I think probably is the hottest because he upped his average in that span about 200 points.
Yeah.
He was sub 200 after his first 15 or so at bats. Now he's hitting 364, which is top 5 in the Cape League. Switch hitting Cruz takes a hack. Can't quite connect, and it's 0-2.
Looks like Vanderkoy's keeping the ball outside to Cruz, opting to try to make him reach for one instead of back in the first inning when he got a pitch inside and was able to yank it. Maybe Cruz's wheelhouse is inside. Instead, Vanderkoy is going to opt to go out.
That one is high and away for the first ball of the count. Vanderkoy now up to 65 pitches. That was 66. 42 strikes, 24 balls. The switch hitting Cruz, batting as a lefty for the third time today. All 3 times he's been up against Vanderkoy, he has batted lefty. Ball 2 misses outside.
Yeah, everything's been on the outside corner or a little bit outside to Trey Cruz, so it seems like that's the new approach for Vanderkoy against Cruz, and we'll see if other pitchers pick up on that as well.
Troy Clonch on deck. Vanderkoy settles in the stretch. Lifts his left leg and delivers. Just getting a piece is Cruz to stay alive.
He doesn't have a breaking pitch that can really set guys down.
Yeah, I agree.
It's been a lot of 2-strike fastballs, and a couple of the breaking balls that he just threw on 0-2 to Cruz missed well outside, didn't have a lot of movement. I think that's probably Vanderkoy's biggest issue right now at this stage of his development.
The 2-2. This one's taken for a ride into center field. With a run on it is Beasley. Tagging and scoring is Kevin Kendall. No chance, as Kendall has plenty of speed, and the doors are up 2 at 6-4.
Yeah, I'm impressed by Kendall's speed, like you mentioned, because that was a very shallow ball into center field. He easily threw it on a line home to Jackson Greer. Obviously, the ball was about 15 feet up the first base line. It wasn't accurate, but even with an accurate throw, would have been perfectly on a line, but still probably wouldn't have been much of a play because of Kendall's quick feet.
So now 2 outs and a runner on first in Austin Langworthy. It's another RBI for Trey Cruz on the sac fly. And Troy Clonch, who is 0 for 2 today, will try to keep the inning alive. Strike 1, outside Black. Pitching rotation for YD has been average so far. 3.98 team ERA, that's 6th in the Cape League. Opponents are batting .249 against the Red Sox. That's second highest batting average against in the league.
That's June statistics.
Gotta love
249 is second highest.
You gotta love him. Checking again is Vanderkoy on Austin Langworthy. Vanderkoy looks like he will finish off this inning, and maybe that'll be the day, but we'll see. Big cut from Clonch. He comes up empty 0-2. Vanderkoy wipes his mouth with his left sleeve, takes a look into Jackson Greer, moves his neck over towards the first base side in Austin Langworthy, kicks and delivers. Gets the head of the bat on it to stay alive 0-2.
That was a great pitch. I think Clonch was not expecting fastball. That was a pitch that caught a chunk of the outside zone. Wasn't even corner, just caught a chunk of the plate, and it was about belt high, but he was late on it. That's why he only was able to get the nub of the bat on it.
Vanderkoy will check on Langworthy again, who slides back head first.
He's got a good move over to first base.
He does, yeah. First base coach Ryan Eiley with a grin to Austin Langworthy, who is now painted in dirt. The 0-2, Langworthy is going. Throw down to second base from Greer. Should be in time. Did he tag him? No. That lead foot got into the bag before the tag. Runner in scoring position with 2 down.
Yeah, it looks like he decided to graze the back corner of the bag the one pointed most towards center field, rather than going straight ahead. And I think that was the difference that it made. Young unable to get his glove back far enough in order to tag him.
Austin Langworthy now at second base, a 1-2 count. 2 down and a 2-run lead for the Doors. They've scored in every inning except the second. Clonch again with a foul ball that goes off of the mask of Greer and into foul territory.
Great two-strike approach. We saw it yesterday. Troy Clonch was 1 for 1 yesterday with 2 RBIs thanks to an RBI single up the middle. It came with 2 strikes, and it was a very similar at-bat to this. Today, he's 0 for 2. No RBIs yet. Much different day at the plate for him, but still with the same approach, still putting together the same swings. It's only a matter of time until it pays off.
Doors have only struck out 3 times today, twice in the first inning. They've made it tough for Vanderkoy. Here's the 1-2. Fouled away. And we saw before that last pitch, Tom Carey, the home plate umpire, had to go to the bat boys and get a handful more balls because a lot of these are ending up as souvenirs.
Yeah. Clonch is, I'm sure, frustrating Vanderkoy to no end. He just wants to get out of the inning, keep it at a 2-run deficit. He probably knows it's his last inning of work. He just wants it to end on a better note.
75 pitches fired by Vanderkoy. Here comes 76. Looks back to Langworthy once, twice, and delivers outside. Clonch reaching on that error in the third inning. One of 2 errors for the Red Sox in the bottom of the third. The second was a throwing error from Jackson Greer. Strike 3, got him looking. Same strike on that right side of the plate that has been called all day. Sits down, Clonch looking for the second time today, and Vanderkoy escapes with minimal damage. The Doors add another run, and we head to the 5th. Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Cape Cod Coca-Cola thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League. Cape Cod Coca-Cola has been proudly refreshing the community for 30-plus years, and we're honored to support the CCBL and many other wonderful organizations on the Cape.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
Back here in the top of the 5th inning, Sean Mullen still on the bump for the Doors. We alluded to it earlier in the broadcast. Third base coach for the YD Red Sox, Scott Pickler. Head coach of YD in his 21st season, Jeff Trundy, who doesn't move from that perch on the left side of the dugout in his 21st year as head of the Doors as well. Danny, 2 of the longest tenured coaches in the Cape League and 2 of the best.
Yeah, deservedly so. I mean, Pickler with a couple of Cape Cod League championships under his belt. Trundy doesn't have any yet for himself, but still with the Doors pretty much perennially being in the playoffs, he's a very decorated manager.
First pitch fired in for a strike to Austin Wells. And Danny, we didn't see it as much last year because these teams only played 4 times in the regular season as the second pitch is swung through for a strike. This is a pretty fierce rivalry, especially as of late. In 2015 and 2016, this was the Cape Cod League Championship. It was YD versus Falmouth, and YD won both times in 3 games. This one lofted over towards Kendall. Easy first out, but Falmouth still in search of their first championship since 1980. YD, on the other hand, has had 6 under Pickler alone. 04, 06, 07, 14, 15, and 16.
Yeah, he has definitely put this team over the top, and you can see with their roster, I mean, they get a lot of guys from down south, a lot of guys from out in California, picking up on those UC schools like we mentioned. Might not be Power 5 conferences, Big West or what's the other one, the West Coast Conference, but still a lot of talent to be had out there because like you said earlier in the broadcast that California has a ton of talent. Pickler knows that. He picks up on it. And so he's been, you know, kind of cherry picking a lot of very good players for the past decade or so.
So a soft line out to Kevin Kendall starts off the top of the 5th. Now a 1-1 count to Riley King. King wanted it to be 2-0, but again, that outside strike to righties. Mullen out for his second full inning of work, and this one is roped into left field down the line. Langworthy fields it and throws into second. King takes a wide turn, but will trot back to first base. This ball ends up in right field, but he's going to stay put with a long single.
Yeah, like you said, long single. The ball took a couple of trips around the diamond. First off the bat and then off the glove of Hayden Cantrell after he wasn't able to scoop the throw from Austin Langworthy. Luckily for Mullen, like you said, only goes down as a single, so not too much of a threat just yet.
Andrew Eister cracked a single and scored in the 3rd inning. He's from South Carolina, which is one of those schools that YD seems to have a pipeline to. Noah Campbell, who didn't get the start in this game, is also from University of South Carolina. As the first pitch settles in for a ball. A couple of the other schools that YD seems to have familiarity with are those California schools that you mentioned. Cal Poly San Luis Obispo as one of them. Pepperdine.
Arizona State, too.
Mullen misses upstairs 2-0.
Last year, YD was pretty good as well. They finished in first place in the Eastern Division, but then got swept by the last team to make it out of the East, Brewster, who was kind of a random comeback into the playoffs for Brewster last year. But yeah. YD put together another great 2018, and it looked like it was destined for greatness. Looked like they were going to punch their ticket easily to the Cape Cod Championship, but kind of fell apart in late stages.
Yeah, they had the best regular season record on the Cape, 27-15-2. That's 59 points. They were 12 points ahead in the East Division, so firmly cemented at that as that number 1 seed, as Eister now has a 3-1 count. But as you mentioned, Danny, Brewster, who nearly had the inverse record at 13-27-4, swept YD in the first round in 2 games. It's a weird end of the season for YD, who was so dominant in June and July. This is a high, deep drive into center field. This is trouble. Dunn is back and tracking so long. This game is tied. Eister with a 2-run bomb, and it's 6-6.
Not much you can say about that. Pitch right down the middle, about belt high, and Eister showing off the power. He has had such an incredible start to his summer. 470 average coming into today. Racked up another hit and RBI in the 3rd inning. He's now above 500 with that latest home run. Unbelievable what he's been able to do right off the bat. And that was probably the deepest home run we've seen at Gov Fuller Field all summer.
Dead center field. Blake Dunn went back. Got a good jump on the ball, but ran out of space, and it landed behind that maroon fence. So Sean Mullen, who worked quickly in the 4th, gives up a 2-run bomb. This game's tied at 6. Danny, you mentioned Eister. 2nd home run of the season, now up to 7 RBIs. He has been outstanding.
Yeah, he's looking like an early lock for one of those Cape Cod League MVP spots. Definitely an early lock for an all-star.
Eister, an absurd 471 average coming into today, and he's 2 for 2 today because he worked a walk his first time up.
Unreal stuff.
So we are going to get a pitching change, Danny, as Aiden Maldonado comes in for Mike Landry, the pitching coach, Jeff Trundy, the head coach, and this is his 2nd appearance of the summer. The first time out was against Hyannis, and he struggled with control.
Yeah, he's a walk guy. That's definitely his major problem, and you're not gonna have room for walks in a tie ball game late in the game, especially coming up against the bottom of the order. Just want to throw them strikes, see if you can get early quick outs. It's not like you're facing Eister or King who can take you yard. No, you just got to throw strikes and settle down with that control. Like you said, his first time out was definitely not one to remember, and hopefully for Maldonado, he's put that out of his head, and he's made the adjustments he needs to.
Well, he's another one of those guys who's a middle reliever, hasn't gotten much time on the mound, as many of them haven't. Pitched 2/3 of an inning on June 14th against Hyannis. Gave up 3 runs, 2 of them were earned, 2 hits, 2 walks, and no strikeouts. So trying to turn it around in appearance number 2. He's a rising sophomore at Illinois. Stands at 6 foot 175. And he had the same struggles at Illinois this year. 6.58 ERA, 26 innings pitched, and more than a walk in inning. He had 30 free passes to just 20 strikeouts.
And like we said, I mean, it's a 7-inning game. It's the 5th inning.
Right.
The game's tied. There's still only 1 out, so there's still a lot of room to work with for Yarmouth Dennis. This is a big opportunity for Maldonado. This is kind of a confidence boost, I would say, for him. The fact that your coach is turning to you in a game like this, expecting that first time out or your freshman year, not indicative of how you can really pitch.
So Mike Landry makes the second call to the bullpen. We never got you Chris Gonzalez's final line. It's 2 2/3, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. And we will have a pinch hitter as well for YD. Riley Tirada comes out of the 6th spot and likely will be replaced defensively as well by Noah Campbell, who I just alluded to. He is a South Carolina Gamecock as well. He had a brief stint in YD last summer, but his sophomore year at South Carolina, not as strong as his freshman year. Strike 1 at the knees. Freshman year batted .270. Sophomore year batted .239. Coming into 2019, very highly touted. He's preseason All-America second team by Baseball America. Maldonado rears back and fires a fastball, which Campbell chases its 0-2.
That looked 90+, and that's a fastball you want to see often for Maldonado. He's got a good matchup here because Carey does have a wider strike zone, so he can go some spots with that fastball, see if he can blow by some of these pitchers and some of these hitters, to try to see them chase.
Maldonado rears back. Ball misses low. He's pitching from the stretch, despite nobody on base. So Sean Mullins' line is final as well. Pitched an inning in 2/3, 3 hits, but one of them was costly. It was a 2-run bomb to tab him with 2 earned runs. He did have 3 Ks. Very even game between these two teams. It's going to come down to the final innings. This one chopped over to Jackson Coots. Coots on the run. He'll take it himself for out number 2.
That's a huge out. That's a huge out for Aiden Maldonado to get that first out under your belt and to rebound right away from your initial appearance. And now you've got the bottom of the order coming up and no chances for them to rack up any RBI. So you've only got 1 RBI between the 3 of them, 4 strikeouts between the 3 of them as well. Obviously, you don't want to have to face 8 or 9. You just want to get Wyatt Young right here. But you don't want to put a runner on base for Wyatt Young because, like we mentioned earlier, Young already with 4 RBIs on the season and a 300-plus average.
Young takes a healthy hack at the first pitch he sees from Maldonado. It's fouled back into the screen. Young 1 for 2 today, singled in the 3rd, struck out in the 2nd. 2-run bomb from Andrew Eister tied this game up just a few moments ago. It's been back and forth. These two teams have played some close games over the years. The 0-1 from Maldonado misses outside. Last year, as we mentioned, a 2-2 split of the series. Falmouth won the first matchup 8-0 out at Red Wilson Field. YD won a 1-0 game when Falmouth was in their offensive woes on June 20th. Maldonado fires, and a good frame by Clonch for the 2nd strike. And those last 2 games, Falmouth won 6-3, YD won 4-2. So 3 of the 4 games decided by 3 runs or less. between the Red Sox and the Commodores. 1-2, 2 outs. Maldonado trying to make quick work of the Red Sox. The 1-2, check swing. Clonch blocks it. It scoots over towards the YD dugout, but nobody on base. 2-2. Maldonado settling in on the rubber. Wyatt Young again choking up. We saw him do it before that single into center field on a 3-1 count in the third inning. Maldonado exhales, kicks, and delivers. Missing a little bit low here today. 3-2. As Gov Fuller Field filling up here in game one. Again, that wind blowing out towards the scoreboard in left. Payoff pitch is lifted into center field. Playing very shallow was Blake Dunn. Made the adjustment after Wyatt Young's single in the third, and Aiden Maldonado faces two batters, forces a ground out and a flyout. But the YD Red Sox strike back. It's 6-6 as we head into the final stages of this game. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
So Vanderkoy's back out there.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, this is a head-scratching decision.
He's 70-plus pitches, too. 6 runs, 7 hits. Tie ball game.
Right. It'll be Tawa to start things off. Again, Vanderkoy's last start of the year was against the Stanford Cardinal. He pitched very well as Tim Tawa, the only Stanford player on this roster this year, takes the first pitch and the second pitch. He's up 2-0. So it's now an even 80 pitches that Vanderkoy has thrown, which is a lot for summer ball.
Absolutely.
This one over towards shortstop, bobbled and thrown onto first, and then couldn't be scooped by Samuelson. Tawa reaches first on another booted ground ball, and the leadoff runner's on yet again. Third error of the afternoon for the Red Sox.
Yeah, that's not going to do well. I mean, we saw Falmouth get away with a victory, 5 errors against Wareham and win 8-5. That's not going to repeat itself too often. If you give a team who's already got 7 hits, 3 errors as well, and can run really well too, never going to work out, and I think YD is putting themselves in a hole.
Some defensive changes as well for the Red Sox as ball 1 misses to DeLoach. So Riley King, who was in right field, moves to third base. Filling his spot out in right is Austin Wells, who previously was in left, and the pinch hitter, Noah Campbell, comes into left field. Running, Sliding into second base safely is Tawa. Again, testing that arm of Greer. And so far, he has not done too well getting guys over at second base.
And right as I said it, you give put a guy on base who's got speed with an error, and they're going to make you pay. It's a tie ball game, and Falmouth is going to try to break out all the stops to break free and take the lead. Now maybe with Deloach at the plate, you're really in business and a runner on second base because Deloach has been red hot.
He's got a hitter's count as well. Greer sets up on the outside. Misses in, and this one chopped into right field. Holding up at third is Tawa, smartly so. And it's a no-out single for Deloach, who's red hot, 3 for 3. Puts runners on the corners.
Yeah, I think he's bumped himself up to maybe the top of the order. Zach Deloach continues to rake. Got speed on the base paths with Deloach at first. Might try to steal second as well. And maybe see if Dunn can at least bring home one, if not two.
You mentioned if Deloach will steal or not. Commodores do like to run on the base paths, despite having 2 less games played than most other teams on the Cape. They have 11 stolen bases. It's tied for 4th in the league, and they added another 4 today. Greer will take off the mask and the cap and head out to the mound. And what I'm starting to think, Danny, I think I might have cracked the code with Vanderkoy. He threw 95 innings this year, so I'm thinking maybe they're giving him one last start and just riding him, and this might be it for the summer.
That's actually a valid point, because we know that.
Because there's no other reason that they would ride him so long unless they knew this is it.
Yeah, and we know that most guys, 100 innings plus, they're done. They're done for the summer. They're going to rest. So yeah, that's a really good point, and maybe they're thinking that one more good inning, because he's still a very talented pitcher, so they're thinking, hey, just give us one more inning, keep it 6-6, and we're in business. Unfortunately for him and YD, he wasn't able to do that.
So they will go to the bullpen finally. Scott Pickler with a long conversation out on the mound. And we'll see who they go to as the infield is talking. Pickler taps Greer on the back leg. Greer will have a longer conversation with this reliever. And the number I'm seeing is number 3, but Luke Waddell is also wearing 3 at short. 31.
There we go. Now we can tell you all about the reliever.
Another San Luis Obispo boy, and Taylor Dollard. He's also a righty, rising sophomore. Stands at 6'3", 185. He had a really good year this year. 2.89 ERA, 5-0 record, 43 2/3 innings pitched, and a great strikeout to walk ratio, Danny.
Yeah, he was pretty dominant out at San Luis Obispo. 48 Ks, 13 walks. Part of the reason why he was their go-to closer with those 4 saves. Voted 2 years ago as their best reliever as a freshman. Got the same amount of appearances, 1 less save, and an even better ERA at 2.43. So back-to-back years in which he has kept his earned run average below 3. And in a tie ball game, only a couple innings remaining, I think it's a good move that Pickler is going to.
And I don't know if it's something about San Luis Obispo, but I mentioned Brad Beasley with those consistent stats. Freshman and sophomore year looked very similar for Dollard.
Yeah.
No losses, 19 appearances both times. He had 1 more save his sophomore year, 3 more innings pitched. Like, that just doesn't happen. We've seen it now with 2 guys who are on the same college team.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty good for Dollard because, like I said earlier, usually if a freshman has a great freshman year, he falls off,
right.
Especially as pitchers. Usually if he has a rough freshman year, he really steps it up. For Dollard, he stayed consistent. And that's excellent going into your junior year. If you can recreate that in your junior year, and coming from a non-Power 5 school, he's going to be a lock in the early rounds of the draft in a year.
Dollard came in relief on June 20th against Orleans, pitched 2 innings, gave up no runs, no walks, struck out 3, and he picked up the win. He has the chance in a tie ball game to get his 2nd win of the summer. But trying to spoil that party would be Blake Dunn, who's up at the plate with 2 runners on. Tim Tawa's at 3rd, Zach Deloach at 1st, and Deloach, who moved himself up in the batting order, might do the same for Game 2 after a 3-for-3 performance today here in the 5th.
He deserves it too, and Blake Dunn maybe even because he's got 2 hits on the game, both of them for RBIs. So Dunn with a chance to go 3-for-3 himself and try to take another lead for Falmouth.
As we mentioned earlier, Dunn's parents visiting this weekend. Blake Dunn playing like it 2 for 2, a stolen base. Hasn't come in to score. He's been left stranded both times, as the first pitch from Dollard is low. Middle infield's playing back at double play depth. Tate Samuelson staying at first base, and Riley King over at third, playing about middle depth. Righty-righty matchup. This one chopped over towards Brett Becker. Gotta have better hands than that. Off his hand.
He's no Ryan Eiley.
Brett Becker in his third season with the Commodores. Third base coach last year. Ryan Eiley, newcomer to the Doors coaching staff in his first season here on the Cape. Dollard looking out of the corner of his eye to DeLoach. DeLoach is running. Greer won't even throw down to second. 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out.
Falmouth has to be the most dangerous team on the base paths.
Yeah.
They've easily got the most speed of any team on the Cape, any lineup.
And I was talking to Brett Becker about this the other day. It was Ryan Eiley, actually. I'm mixing them up now. But I asked if they give signs or if they let them run on their own. For the most part, they get to decide.
Oh, really?
Sometimes they'll give a sign and say, hey, steal, hey, bunt, but they let them make their own decisions. You can especially see that with guys like DeLoach, Hayden Cantrell.
Cantrell does it all the time.
All the time. Here's Dunn, 2-1. Skied into right center field. Austin Wells playing out in right, shields the sun with his glove, and tagging and scoring to take the lead is Tim Tawa. It's 7-6 Doors.
Well, the stolen base is coming right back for Falmouth.
Yep.
Tim Tawa was able to steal second base a couple batters ago. DeLoach's steal right there puts him in scoring position, keeps him in scoring position with 1 out. So now if Coots can get a ball into the outfield, he should score. But Tawa able to score thanks to his speed. Blake Dunn with a 3rd RBI in his 3rd at-bat. And things are looking good for Falmouth offensively. It's just a matter if the pitching can back it up, because this is now the 3rd time which they have taken a lead.
Coots batting in the 8th spot today, has cooled off a little bit at the plate. He's 0 for 2 today. And during those rainouts, he struck out a couple times. Didn't hurt his average, but maybe his momentum and mentality in the batter's box. First one fouled back into the trees.
It's got to be tough when you're in the lineup as a temporary player from Rhode Island, and you're seeing every single day there's a new guy from Texas A&M, a guy from Stanford, a guy from Oregon State, a guy from UCLA, and you might think that is my spot going to be taken up in the coming days. And it might be for the first part it was maybe a mental change that worked out for him, but now it might be stressing.
0-1 is over the outstretched glove of the leaping Wyatt Young, and that'll help. A single from Jackson Coots moves him to 1 for 3 for the day and moves DeLoach over to third base. And Danny, there's one thing I've noticed about Coots. It's that if he is thinking that, he's not showing it, because he's a very loose guy.
Yeah.
Joking, always coming up to the press box,
honestly,
talkative with his teammates.
I think that the pressure is helpful for him. I think him seeing that is kind of a challenge, and he's taken the mantle, and he's really showing it, because he looks as good as any of these other guys from the more dominant baseball conferences.
Kevin Kendall swung at the first pitch his last time up, and it was one of the hardest hit balls we've seen today. A 1-hop double off the fence in right center. He came around to score. 7-6 Doors, 1 out here in the 5th inning. Remember, 7 innings here for the doubleheaders. Holland fires and delivers. Kendall pokes it foul. Game 2 will be coming up here on our YouTube stream about 45 minutes after the close of this one. It's always impressive how quickly they put out those second lineups and get back out on the diamond.
Yeah, they give these players no chance to rest a little bit. Nor should they.
Yeah,
you don't want to get a little tight.
Well, I was thinking tight, and they haven't played at all, so work them a little bit, you know? Dollard in a jam with runners on the corners. Kevin Kendall at the plate. He watches an off-speed move inside. Just like last weekend, handful of doubleheaders going on across the Cape right now. We'll fill you in with that on the other side of the break. Kendall with that bat perched on his left shoulder. Dollard, the righty, delivers. Swing and a miss. Beautiful off speed.
Looked like the same pitch that Jackson Coots was able to shoot into right field for a hit, and I think Kendall was trying to do a little bit more than Coots was. Coots was looking to make contact. He was looking to get on base. Kendall looked like he was trying to do what he did in the 4th inning and put it into a gap. Instead, he swung right through it.
Another all-star name warming up for the Red Sox, Legend Smith from Oklahoma. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He went to the same pitch and fooled Kendall again. Second out.
Couple of great curveballs like you mentioned, and credit Coots for being able to hit it. Kevin Kendall instead, going up against the 12-6 like that, tries to sweep it, and he can't quite catch up. So it looks like Dollard, after a couple of rough pitches up against Blake Dunn and Jackson Coots, now is starting to settle in a little bit.
Dollard came in with nobody out, 2 runners on. Allowed a sac fly into right field. That scored Tim Tawa and gave the Doors the lead yet again. They've scored in every inning except the second. Off speed misses low to the leadoff man, Hayden Cantrell. But kept relatively quiet today. Hit by a pitch and scored in the first. Struck out in the second. Had a sacrifice bunt in the 4th to move over Kevin Kendall. Dollard from the stretch. Check swing. That'll head back into the bleachers. 1-1.
Hayden's waiting to burst out of his shell this game. 296 average entering today. 0 for 2. He's got to be just itching to put one into the outfield because he's been hitting the ball a lot better than he was last year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Last year, very slow start for him despite opening day when he got a couple of extra base hits.
Last game that the Commodores played was on Monday, and Cantrell was the star. Had a grand slam to give the Doors the lead, 8-5, and the eventual win. Ball number 2 misses high. Commodores were supposed to play the Gatemen yesterday. They got a half an inning in and scored 4 runs in the top of the first, but all for naught, as that game will be rescheduled at a date to be determined. 2-1 from Dollard. Cantrell watches it low. Again, for all of these social media, for all of these weather updates, go to our social media.
Yeah, follow our social media.
It's all great stuff.
They'll be able to tell you on Twitter and Instagram right away.
Right.
First word.
We'll
let you know. That stinks for yesterday. They were on pace to score 36 runs.
I know. Well, we were talking in the middle of the first. We were like, that was one of the best first innings we've seen. Like, let's go. Would have been a second win against the Wareham Gatemen, as Hayden Cantrell thought he worked a walk, but a high strike called and late makes it a full count.
And Wareham is a team that's right around first place in the West. That would be a great win to have.
Commodores have played 2 less games than the Gatemen with 2 wins today. They would have 11 points themselves. But again, they got some catching up to do as far as games played. The 3-2 hits him on the hip. So the last ball wasn't called. Ball 4 this time. He's hit by a pitch for the second time today. He'll move to first, and the bases are loaded for Austin Langworthy.
Poor Hayden. Strikes out, gets hit twice. At least he's getting on base, so you know that he's okay with that. He's doing his job as a leadoff hitter, but it's kind of a painful way to go about it.
Yeah, you saw a grimace and kind of an eye roll from Hayden Cantrell. He's like, you kidding me?
Again, he's a guy who's itching to swing the bat because he's been swinging it so well.
Right.
Hasn't really gotten a chance to do that much this game.
Austin Langworthy has had a great day at the plate. Singled and scored, flew out, worked a walk, and has stolen a base. He's got a chance to add a couple more and give the Commodores a good cushion. Beautiful off-speed, breaks across the plate for strike 1.
Yeah, that's a beautiful pitch. There's a reason he's been throwing it so much. And
looks like a slider, I think, with that sideways movement.
Yeah, and the way it moves inside to a lefty like that, I mean, they're looking at it and they're thinking that's going to sit on the outside part of the plate, maybe miss in the right-hand batter's box, and it's nowhere near.
Dollard will step off the bump, lick his hand, and settle back in. Doors lead 7-6 here at Gov Fuller Field, game 1 of a doubleheader. Doors have 7 runs on 9 hits, no errors. The Red Sox, 6 runs on 8 hits and 3 errors. And while we like all this offense, it has been a very slow-moving game with these 13 runs scored. Pitch out and a check down to third, trying to get DeLoach lagging, but he's in safely.
A lot of close calls at the second base umpire, or I guess I should say third base umpire, John Petula, has called safe just about every single time. A couple of close steals from some Commodores runners, and then that one as well. But as of yet, nothing doing for Jackson Greer, but he's this close to getting one to go his way.
Greer looks back to the dugout, then issues his sign to Dollard. Austin Langworthy up with the bases loaded. Watches strike number 2. And again, you saw that exhale on the body language from Austin Langworthy. Didn't like the call, and now he's got to protect with 2 strikes.
Yeah, those are tough. Maybe just clipped the knees, but definitely looked inside, and that's such a tough pitch to look at and have it be called a strike.
It has been called all day by Tom Carey. The 1-2. Check swing. Didn't go around. Count is now even. Big AB for Austin Langworthy, as he could give the Doors their first multi-run cushion since the first inning. Doors are up 3-0. YD came back to make it 4-3. Falmouth then added 2 in the bottom of the third to take a 5-4 lead. We've been neck and neck the whole way through this one. Strike 3, got him looking. Austin Langworthy can't believe it, and the Doors leave the bases stranded. Bases loaded. 7-6 is your score. We head to the 6th inning. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The 99 Restaurant is a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Visit them in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth this summer and try some local flavor from the winner of the Cape Times' Best Restaurant for Takeout. The 99, always the real deal.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/bloodcenter.
Back in the top of the 6th here at Gov Fuller Field, the Doors have taken the lead 7-6. Maldonado back on the bump. Danny, a lot of games today. Walk us through what's gone on around the Cape.
20 games because of all the doubleheaders. I know, it's a baseball fan's dream.
Wait, that's 10, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
what
okay.
am I thinking?
20 teams.
20.
Well, whatever. 10 games.
10 games across, yeah. You have it. You have it. 10 teams playing each other twice. There we go. Figured it out.
Maldonado misses way outside for ball 1.
So we got a couple of finals already in game 1s.
Okay.
Katuitt Kettleers defeat the Brewster Whitecaps 5-2. Katuitt stays red hot.
Yep.
Orleans in an 89-minute game beat
Whoa.
Wareham 1-0. That Orleans pitching staff is unbelievable.
Yeah.
They are far and away the best pitching staff on the Cape, and it's remained so, keeping Wareham, who's the best hitting team on the Cape, at scoreless 1-0. Of course, this game 7-6. Harwich and Hyannis currently in the bottom of the 6th with Harwich leading 7-2. Hyannis just cannot catch a break.
Yeah, that's tough. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Top of the 2nd, Bourne is beating Chatham 1-0 in game number 1. And game number 2 already underway out at Lowell Park in Katuitt. Katuitt back out on top over Brewster 2-0 in the 2nd.
With 2 wins and a Wareham loss, Katuitt would move into 1st in the West Division. 2-1 misses low and away to Jack World, pinch hitter from UNLV, rising junior, batted .340 this past year. 53 hits, 9 of them doubles, 6 big flies, and 32 RBIs. Big stocky lefty, 5'10", 210. Maldonado throws an outside strike that is waved at and fouled back 2-2. So the Doors, with their first game starting at 3 p.m., have had probably the longest game one.
Yeah.
At least in terms of pace. We're just starting the 6th inning now. Must feel good for Bourne to play as well. 2-2 is towered into left field. Langworthy has a read on it, makes the catch.
I still want to know what's wrong with Hyannis. I mean, it's the Cape Cod Baseball League. It's not like they have significantly less talent than anybody else.
Right. No, they're 0-7-1 for those of you who don't know. The Commodores and the Harbor Hawks were that one tie.
Yeah, 9-9.
9-9 in what should have been, by all accounts, a Hyannis win.
Yeah.
0-7-1 are the Harbor Hawks, and with a loss in Game 1, they'd move to 0-8-1. You get a certain point, right? It's only a 44-game season. You're already 10 games
Might
in.
dig yourself a big enough hole.
Well, Hyannis, as ball number 1 comes into Jackson Greer, made the playoffs last year. And they were the 2 seed, but the year before that, they struggled, only 16 wins, and missed the playoffs in the West. 4 out of 5 teams in each division make the playoffs. Check swing from Greer, and that one hits the foot of Tom Carey off a foul ball. He didn't even flinch. That was crazy.
Well, that's the thing is you always look at it in in professional leagues and might think, well, hey, they're only a couple of points behind a playoff spot, like they could do this, but then they have like 6 teams to jump.
Right.
Well, at least Hyannis, they only would have 1 team to jump.
We saw sort of a battle in the basement last year in the East Division between Orleans and
Who could
Brewster.
lose quicker?
Yeah. The 1-1 sounds like a broken bat over towards Hayden Cantrell. He has to field it quickly, but Greer sort of lollygagging down the first base line is out for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, you mentioned how YD had the inverse record of Brewster last year and got swept. Brewster only with 13 wins. By all accounts, they should have missed the playoffs, but Orleans in July, just at a record pace, started losing games.
Yeah, I believe Orleans lost like 5 of their last 6, something like that.
I think it was like 14 of their last 15, too.
Well.
It was even worse than that. And Brewster wasn't even winning all that much.
Correct.
They were just losing less frequently than Orleans was. East is looking a lot better this year.
Maldonado fires a fastball that misses outside, and that's one of the weird things about the Cape League. I look at it as sort of 3 seasons, if you will.
That's fair.
At the beginning, you got those temporary players on the front end. You got a lot of your stars who are still in Omaha, taking some time to finish exams before they come to the Cape. I think the best ball you see is right around the All-Star break in mid-July, when everyone's still around in town.
The scouts are still here, so they're playing intensely.
Team USA players are back. And then when you get towards the end of the season, people reach innings limits. They head back early. And you see teams lose their best players really in crunch time. I mean, when the playoffs roll around, some of the teams will have a totally different roster as, say, the 1 seed in the playoffs, like YD last year.
Right. I don't know their roster from last year, but I can probably account that failure in the playoffs for they probably had a whole new lineup that they had to throw out there.
2-1 is the count to Brad Beasley. And if you look at teams that succeed, right, it's those teams that lose the least amount of guys, right? Like Wareham and Chatham last year lost basically no one. They were wheeling out their same lineup in the playoffs, and then they were able to square off in the CCBL championship. Dunn ranging over on a fly ball and makes the catch. Maldonado, 5 up, 5 down in relief. Talk about a turnaround performance. And he gets it back to the Falmouth Bats quickly. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 7-6 Doors. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
Bottom of the 6th inning, as we have a new pitcher for the Red Sox. It's Legend Smith from Oklahoma. He was warming up a little bit earlier. They went to Dollard briefly.
Legendary name.
It's a great. I almost glossed over that one. I honestly should have kept going. But Legend Smith, a rising redshirt sophomore at Oklahoma, 3.66 ERA this past year, 1-1 record. He was a reliever, 27 appearances, 19 2/3 innings pitched, and about a 4-1 strikeout to walk ratio with 5 free passes and 19 Ks. He's from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma, the Sooners got a good one. He was an 18th round draft pick by the Milwaukee Brewers in 2017. That's really high for a
guy out of
high
school,
schooler
no doubt.
who goes into college. Typically, if you see a high schooler get selected, it's going to be very late because the teams know that he's probably going to be going to college and not signing anyway, so you'll see 37th, 38th round. Or it's going to be a lot earlier, and they're going to sign with the major league team. 18th round shows that the Brewers really thought they could sign him and really thought that he was talented.
Ball 1 misses into Trey Cruz. Cruz, Clonch, and Tawa due up. And Legend Smith back in the 2018 NCAA Regional as he fires in a strike to Cruz. He pitched against your boys, Mississippi State.
Ugh.
2 innings pitched and
Oma
4
Dogs.
Ks. You basically fell in love with Starkville, from what I can tell.
Not Starkville, but the people of Starkville.
Fair
they were
enough.
the nicest people ever.
1-1 is low and away. For those unfamiliar with our broadcast team here, I'm David Korzanowski. Go to Notre Dame. They stink at baseball.
Danny
Notre-
LaRose here. Miami. Got
Great
a little
year
bit
this
better
year.
this year.
This one is a towering shot to left field. See you later. Trey Cruz with a solo bomb. And the Doors double their lead. It's 8-6.
Cruz knew it.
Yeah, swiftly cut off there, and rightfully so, as he had a bomb.
Yeah, he started looking back towards the dugout and tipped his hat to the rest of them. He was pimping it all the way through. Cruz absolutely knew it, and right off the bat, oh my goodness, wow.
That ball was clobbered. Third run scored of the day for Cruz. He's got a single, a home run, a walk, a sac fly, couple RBIs.
Hottest bat on the team confirmed.
It's got to be. Got to be. And the second player on the Commodores to get a home run. The other one is Hayden Cantrell with 2. And whatever Cantrell does, Cruz is catching up, and they would go back and forth. They do a little leapfrog. As Troy Clonch swings and misses, it's a 1-1 count. But yeah, to finish the point, I mean, basically Danny went to Starkville, and it was cool.
I went to Starkville. I broadcasted the regional that the Hurricanes played at Mississippi State. And Starkville's not the best city, but the people are the best.
Clonch watches a ball low.
I don't even know if I can call Starkville a city, but I don't want to disrespect
Right.
disrespect it because they were just the nicest.
Well, Clonch and Oregon State hosted a regional as well. As this ball's fouled back to make the count even. And remember, Oregon State, 2018 national champions, they were still playing at this time last year and beat Arkansas in 3 games. But this year, bounced in 2 in the regional stage. A huge shocker, just one of 3 teams in the history of D1 baseball to be defending national championship champions bounced in 2 games. As foul tip into the mitt is the second out of the inning, first out.
Poor Troy Clonch. I mean, 0 for 4. He only reached base due to an error. Now 3 strikeouts, 2 of them looking on questionable pitches, one of them now swinging. And this is coming after a game yesterday where that was washed away, as we know. But in the first inning, he had the 2 RBI single.
Right.
So he's got to have the biggest gripe, I would think, on the team for all these rainouts.
Zach DeLoach shimmies out of the way of an inside fastball. Excuse me, Tim Tawa. DeLoach is on deck. Tawa's had a little bit of a rough day as well. He struck out in the first, grounded into a double play in the third. Did reach on an error in the fifth. This one is into deep right center field. It gets past Austin Wells and is in towards second base in a hurry. Thought it was going to be a double, but Tawa with a very long single here with 1 out.
Yeah, Wells took a horrible route to that baseball, and he didn't really look like he was hustling towards it either, kind of just trotting towards it. I think he expected to be able to cut it off a lot sooner. It had a little bit more speed off the bat than he thought it would, and he was lucky that he had a long enough glove and a long enough reach to cut it off before it trickled to the wall, because that could have been a triple the way that he was running after it.
Zach DeLoach, another hot bat for the Doors, came into the day 0 for 5. He's now 3 for 8 with 3 singles today. Shows bunt, pulls back, watches a ball.
Yeah, I would not have this guy bunting.
Why is that?
Just look at his score sheet. 3 for 3.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll see if he shows bunt here on the 1-0. With Tawa at first base. Legend Smith, first full inning of work. He's now pitching from the stretch. Gave up a solo bomb to Trey Cruz to start the inning. DeLoach watches a strike. Chapter 1 of 4 between the Red Sox and the Commodores. Falmouth trying to lock up a win in what has been a high-scoring, long, entertaining game. We've seen a couple home runs. We've seen some bats come alive. And we'll see what we get in game 2. Down in the dirt, Greer keeps it in front of him, loses it, but Tawa stays put.
Legend Smith not looking as sharp as he did this past season. He's already let up a home run. He did get the strikeout, but now he's missing the strike zone a lot, has fallen behind in just about every count that he's faced. The first 4 batters, he's fallen 2 balls against.
2-1, and running is Tawa. This one is a towering shot into right field. Back is Wells, and this ball is just off the wall. Tawa didn't know if it was going to be caught, so he trots into third. DeLoach into second, and have a day, Zach DeLoach. Now 4 for 9 on the year, 4 for 4 today, 3 singles, and a double.
Just ridiculous. I mean, batting 1,000 against the YD Red Sox. He's having himself quite a day, as you mentioned, and he's been feasting on just about every team. It was Hyannis first, gets washed away. Wareham next gets washed away. Now it's finally YD, unluckily for them, because it seems like Zach DeLoach was just caged animal waiting to break free.
And he's seeing the ball well. For some people, it's the wooden bats that they need to adjust to. For others, it's timing. That's something I've heard a lot from some of the players here, is getting used to the timing again with the wooden bats and the quality of pitching that they see here on Cape Cod. But the Doors right now, 12 hits, 8 runs. They look great offensively. And still trying to add some more insurance in this bottom of the 6th inning. Again, they've scored in every single inning except the second. Smith kicks and delivers. Dunn took a big hack, but he comes up empty. Jackson Coots is on deck, who's 1 for 3. Blake Dunn at the plate, 2 for 2. Last time he was up, sac fly into right field. Could get another one if he lifts it deep enough into right. Tawa at third has plenty of speed. Outside pitch. Greer tries to frame it, but it's 1-1.
Perfect time for insurance for the Doors. Aiden Maldonado slotting himself up for a win after retiring the 5 batters that he had to face perfectly. And Maldonado with a great bounce-back game after a rough outing his first time around. He definitely deserves it, giving the Doors a long enough chance to get insurance.
The 1-1 slider is into center field. With a read on it is Beasley. He makes the catch over his shoulder. Runners will move no problem, and it's 9-6.
Insurance keeps on coming for Falmouth. Zach Brixey warming up in the bullpen. He's the closer that the Doors are going to want to go to most of the season, I believe. But so far, so good for him. It's still a safe situation, but as long as Falmouth can keep putting some more runs on the board, makes it a lot easier of a job for Brixey come the top of the 7th.
2 outs, a runner on third in Zach DeLoach, who has gotten to third every single time that he's been on the base paths. He scored in the third, but otherwise he's been left stranded. Coots watches a slider break on the inside part of the plate for a strike. Legend Smith also spent last summer in Anchorage playing for the Bucks of the Alaska League, and he had a great summer. Sub-2 ERA at 166, 2-1 record, 21 2/3 innings pitched. Goes back to that same pitch, and he gets the same result.
Yeah, that breaker has been excellent, and throwing it to lefties is so tough because he's a lefty himself, so it's tougher for them to register it, and the way it breaks, pretty much impossible to make contact.
The 0-2 swung on and missed, dropped third strike. Greer moves out to the grass and throws to first for the 3rd out. The Doors add another 2 because of the bomb from Trey Cruz, a double from DeLoach, a single from Tawa, and a sac fly from Blake Dunn. It's going to be the closer, Zach Brixey, getting his first time on the bump since June 11th. We'll be back after the break for the final frame. You're listening to the Falmouth Commodores Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 20-plus seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for elite baseball training and college recruiting assistance. They build more varsity starters, all-state athletes, and college and professional ball players than anyone else in the country. With over 1,000 events nationwide for players in middle school and high school and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
The Falmouth Commodores would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday. What's donated here stays here. All blood that is donated to Cape Cod Healthcare stays on Cape Cod to help the lives of your friends, family, and neighbors. Learn more about donating blood, platelets, or hosting a blood drive at capecodhealth.org/blood center.
We're back for the top of the 7th inning. Zach Brixey on the bump, and hitters 2, 3, and 4 due up for YD. Danny, Brixey hasn't gotten much experience on the Cape, but he has nasty stuff.
Yeah, just an inning pitched so far. As you mentioned, last half inning came on June 11th. He's got a fastball that can reach 100, though.
Yep.
He's definitely got the talent that you want out of a closer. Coming off of a sophomore year where he did rack up 3 saves, a 4-1 record, 4.24 ERA. The strikeout count is really what blows you away.
Yeah, he had 37 Ks in 23 innings compared to the 23 walks.
So not good that he has a walk per inning, but he's striking out so many guys per inning.
The 1-1, Waddell gets a piece of. It's back towards our security camera. 1-2. Austin Wells and Riley King due up for the Red Sox. Last hope to try to snatch a win in Game 1 and come back. They've done it a couple times today. kept it close. It's a 3-run ball game right now. Strike 3 got him looking. Waddell knew it before the home plate umpire, Tom Carey, even punched him out.
Oh, my goodness. You go from a 95-plus fastball that he fouls back into the screen, barely able to make contact with, to a backdoor curve. I mean, no wonder he had so many strikeouts. That is nasty stuff from Brixey.
Brixey's first outing was a save against Chatham, a 1-0 win for the Doors. Pitched 1 inning, allowed 1 hit. Didn't have any strikeouts, so that's his first strikeout of the summer. Now Austin Wells takes a ball upstairs. He had a hard-hit double in the 3rd inning and scored a run. That 3rd inning was the most lethal for the Red Sox as they scored 4. He gets a piece of 1, but it's well out of play, 1-1. Riley King on deck is 2 for 3. The man after him is probably the hottest YD Red Sox bat in Andrew Eister. They'll try to get it to him. Ball 2 misses low. Brixey from Taylorsville, North Carolina, went to Alexander Central High School. Grandfather Jerry Brooks played in the MLB. 2-1, high and up. And a hitter's count for Wells. Wells, a freshman All-American who batted a whopping .527 his senior year of high school. And .353 during his freshman year at Arizona. Watches a ball, and it's ball number 4, a 5-pitch walk. Puts a runner aboard here in the 7th.
We've seen the Zach Brixey special through 2 batters now. A strikeout with some really fast fastballs and a beautiful breaking ball, and then a 5-pitch walk. So we saw his 2 most frequent occurrences when he's on the mound, a strikeout and a walk in succession. Doesn't want to let too many walks get on base because you're coming up to a part of the batting order that has done a lot of damage so far, and with runners on, they can do even more.
Yeah, hitters 4 and 5, a combined 4 for 5 with 3 runs scored, 3 singles, and a home run. Ball 1 misses low to King. Nobody warming in the pen. This is Brixey's here in the 7th. Doors trying to move above 500 to 4-3-1 as they've been cemented there since Monday. Haven't even played. Ball 2 is low. Brixey with a light brush of the mound with his right cleat. Settles in the stretch. Austin Wells, a healthy lead at first. Strike 1 down the middle.
That's a get-me-over pitch. Definitely a red light for King after watching Brixey throw 4 to 5 straight balls.
Again, Andrew Eister on deck. He had a 2-run bomb his last time up to dead center. This one chopped down the third base line towards the manager, Scott Pickler, and foul. 2-2. Pickler clapping his hands, issuing some signs as he touches his nose and puts his hands back on his hips. Only one he'd be singling to is Austin Wells, who's at first base. Plays left field. He's got some speed. 2-2 to King. This one doesn't break enough. Stays upstairs and nearly clips King in a full count.
Yeah, I knew the breaking ball was coming. I knew he was going to go back to the curveball because it was what he threw to Waddell and had it painted the outside corner perfectly. He tries to do the exact same thing. This time it would be inside to King. And like you said, just stayed way upstairs and almost hit him.
Brixey's fired more balls than strikes. This is pitch number 15 coming up. He's had 8 balls and 6 strikes. Foul tipped off the inside of the bat.
Probably would have been ball 4, too.
Yeah, it would have, definitely.
King definitely trying to protect the plate.
Riley King, again, a recent addition to the YD roster. Last summer, played for one of your favorites, the Macon Bacon.
Great name.
In the Coastal Plains League. Batted .306. Ball 4, and this one does clip him. Did he go around is the question. Still no sign from the umpires. Not sure what the call is.
I think he punched him out.
Wow. They say he went around on the swing. Scott Pickler immediately walking in to talk to Tom Carey. He's staying calm and composed as far as body language, but he did sort of come around with those hands and got jammed up on the fingers.
Yeah, it hit him in the midsection and came
Was it the
around
midsection? Yeah.
Somewhere in
Right.
there. It was either the hands or right in the middle. It was coming right for the YD on his left breast. And it looked like he did go around a little bit at first. And Carey came out immediately to say that he went around. And, again, no appeal down to second. Or first, I should say.
Pickler still in Tom Carey's grill. Finally, they part ways. A couple parting shots from Pickler as he walks back to his position at the third base box. We saw Tom Carey. I don't know if you remember this, Danny. He was the home plate umpire in Game 2 of the first round Western Division playoffs last year between Hyannis and Falmouth, and Chad Gassman got tossed.
I remember Gassman getting tossed. Did not know it was Carey who was the umpire.
So Carey, a returning umpire in the Cape League. And the strike zone had some of the hitters a little bit rattled at the beginning of the game, and certainly that punch-out is not one that Pickler is excited about. This misses in the same spot, high and in. And trotting over towards second base is Wells.
Yeah, Brixey nearly hit King once, then hit him a second time, but he went around on the swing accordingly. Yeah. And then Eister now nearly gets hit up on the face. So Brixey trying to establish the inside zone, and he's missing way too far inside.
Eister's last time up, a 2-run home run to dead center. Pitching for the time for the Doors was Sean Mullen before he got the hook. This one is into deep right field, but making the catch is Zach DeLoach on the run, and that will do it. In fitting fashion, a hard hit ball off the bat of Andrew Eister ends this game. Danny, a lot to go through, a long game, but the Doors get back in the win column.
Yeah, 15 runs and 20 hits will make any game long, even if it's only 7 innings. But the Doors are looking like a great offensive team. We saw it yesterday where they scored 4 runs in the only inning they were able to play against Wareham before the hail and the rain came in, and they do it again today. 3 runs in the first inning, only 1 inning in which they did not cross home plate. Falmouth looking very good offensively, a very dangerous lineup right now.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about that offense, Danny. A couple bats that are really hot, Trey Cruz and Zach DeLoach. They combined at the 3 and 6 spots go a combined, I think, 6 for 6, if I'm reading this right. DeLoach was 4 for 4, and Cruz was 2 for 2.
Yeah, and a bunch of runs scored also. I mean, Trey Cruz had 3 runs scored. DeLoach had the 1 run scored. Bunch of RBIs between all of them. DeLoach with 2 RBIs himself. Cruz with 3 RBIs. So those two bringing out most of the power, most of the offensive prowess for the Doors. But really, it was everybody. I mean, it was all over the place. I've got my bases filled in just for about all 9 guys.
It's a coloring book here.
Yeah, nearly everybody had a run scored. So it was an impressive all-around game for Falmouth, and the offense is here. It's very apparent that this team has their team. I mean, no more of those temporary guys coming in and out. It looks like these are the guys who are sticking around.
So we talked about the offense. It was clearly the bright spot for the Commodores. Pitching a little bit shakier as Chris Gonzalez, he gets a no decision after 2 2/3 innings with 4 earned runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. But the relievers looked more solid today.
Yeah, Sean Mullen, he got into a little bit of trouble right off the bat. He let in a run that was charged to Chris Gonzalez, then let up the big home run to Eister that tied the game. And Maldonado after him, look, he was flawless.
Yeah.
Five batters faced, retired all of them. That's good enough to get himself the win, and deservedly so. Coming in a 6-6 ball game in the middle to late stages of the game as well. They needed him to have his best stuff, and boy, did he. And it was the bats that led the way. The pitching just needed to be a little bit better than they were, and that's exactly what they got.
Commodores move to 4-3-1. YD Red Sox, on the other hand, 4-1. Winning pitcher is Aiden Maldonado. He's 1-0 on the year. Losing pitcher is Boyd Vanderkoy. He moves to 1-1 on the season. Zach Brixey gets his second save. Your final score, 9-6 Falmouth. 9 runs on 12 hits, no errors for the Commodores. 6 runs on 8 hits, 3 errors for the Red Sox. We'll be back in a little less than an hour. Stay tuned to our social media to determine when exactly that first pitch will be. But for my fantastic producer, Tony Bianco, sideline reporter, Katie Florio, and Danny LaRose, I'm David Korzanowski saying so long for now, but we'll be back in just